Chapter 1093. 1093 Nya Halopit. Sister Famous Yi. I was wrong. I'm sorry. Anyway, don't worry. I'll find Tong Tong's parents ASP. Yi Wanwan. You don't need to be in such a rush. Really? Nya Halopit. Sister Famous Yi, you don't believe me? 3 months, no, 2 months, no. I can find them in a month. Yi Wanwan quivered with anger. Where were this guy's brains? She was already being so direct about it, but he still didn't understand. Yi Wanwan hugged her pillow and laid on the bed, inwardly fuming with anger. Forget about it. Even if Tong Tong's biological parents were found, it didn't mean she wouldn't see him ever again. She could still be his godmother. Although she comforted herself like that, she could still feel her heart itching in all sort of ways when she thought about how Tang Tang would become someone else's son. Yi Wanwan rolled around on the bed several times before she calmed down. She picked up the phone and started skimming through the entertainment news to distract herself. At first, she was looking through the news casually, but then a piece of news piqued her interest. Director Peng Yuan, whose masterpiece Jasmine still hasn't found a suitable leading actress after half a year of auditions. Director Peng stated, he will start searching for new potential talents from the major theater schools. Peng Yuan who? Jasmine. Yi Wanwan searched through her memories. This film did vaguely ring a bell. Nothing needed to be said about Peng Yuan who. Everyone knew his name in the entertainment industry. Elder Peng was as weighty as MT Tai and was as brilliant as the Big Dipper in the film industry. Every film of his was a fine piece of work, and his arms overflowed with all sorts of awards domestically and internationally. He witnessed the entire history of the movie and television industry in China. However, the fate of Peng Yuanhu's Jasmine was full of trouble and misfortune. Peng Yuanhu was a strict perfectionist and held extremely high standards for the quality of his work. Hence, he was unwilling to compromise about anything. In her previous life, Peng Yuanhu couldn't find the perfect female lead for 2 whole years, so the film kept being pushed back until Peng Yuanhu passed away. From an entertainment article that Yi Wanwan read in her previous life, Peng Yuanhu expressed on his sickbed that being unable to film Jasmine was his biggest regret. If Jasmine was successfully filmed back then, it definitely would have been another immortal classic. Unfortunate, there was no if. Thinking up to this point, Yi Wanwan was about to close the page when her fingers suddenly paused. Wait, who said there was an if? Yi Wanwan swiftly read the overall plot of Jasmine in the news article. This movie was a period film. The female protagonist was a dancer. The change of an era in China was illustrated through the female protagonist, from vibrant youth to bloody wartime to peaceful epoch. Yi Wanwan only speculated a bit to figure out the type of female lead director Peng wanted. First of all, the female lead must have a natural and pure appearance, preferably with a vintage look. It couldn't be one of those plastic surgery faces that littered the streets. However, she couldn't be too beautiful. For example, someone like Yi Wanwan herself wouldn't fit the character. Also, the female lead had to have a solid dance background. Finally, there was the acting itself. After all, there was a large leap between the beginning and the ending of this film. The female lead had to progress from a youth to a senior and live through an entire era. So she definitely couldn't do it without adept acting skills. After Yi Wanwan ran through these requirements, a candidate instantly surfaced in her mind. Jiang Yinran. With that thought, Yi Wanwan sprang up from the bed. The more she thought about it, the more suitable she found Jiang Yinran. She previously didn't sign Jiang Yinran on partially, because she wanted Jiang Yinran to learn her fundamentals first. It was also because their company hadn't been able to obtain suitable scripts for her with their current capabilities and resources. For example, A Life and Death Struggle was a film focused on the male protagonists, and the female protagonist had very little screen time, so it didn't suit her. However, Jasmine was simply tailored for Jiang Yinran. Chapter 1094. Whether it was her appearance, dance training, or acting skills, Jiang Yinran perfectly fulfilled all of the requirements. And the film just happened to be holding auditions in all the major theater and film schools next month, so this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Yi Wanwan immediately called Jiang Yinran. The phone was picked up quickly, and Jiang Yinran's happy voice came through the receiver. Hey Wanwan. Yinran, How have you been lately? Did you finish your end-of-term exams? I'm done. The results just came out. I'm the #1 in my major at school. The girl jubilantly reported to her. Yuanwan gently chuckled. That's awesome. I'll take you out for some good food. You said it yourself, not me. Right, isn't your school on break yet? When are your exams? Jiang Yinren asked. They start next week. I see. Then, are you going to do your grade skipping exam and graduation thesis together? Yup. Yuanwan said. Yuanwan applied for early graduation as soon as she entered school. However, Imperial Media required its students to finish studying at least 1 year of courses before they could take a grade-skipping exam, so she had to wait until now. Then won't I see you even less from now on? Can I still come see you when I have questions? Jiang Yinran asked sulkily. Whenever she encountered problems in her program, she asked Yuanwan. Yuanwan could hit the nail on the head, find the solution right away and tell her how to solve it. She was truly fortunate compared to her classmates and almost never went on any detours. After all, if they studied incorrectly in the initial stages of learning, it would be very hard for them to fix it later on in their acting careers. Yuanwan chuckled. Of course you can. I'm merely graduating, not emigrating. I always welcome your questions. You're my reserve trump card. When Jiang Yinran heard that, she turned more sullen. Then when will you sign me on? Truthfully speaking, I really don't care about any of the things you mentioned. I just want to work with you. Yuanwan's eyes softened, and she gently said, That's what I wanted to talk to you about. It'll be unclear over the phone, so let's meet up tomorrow. Sure. Jiang Yinran agreed. Oh right, I can bring the special edition signed photograph of Han Xinyu in professor clothes that you wanted last time. I forgot to give it to you before. Yuanwan suddenly remembered. Okay, Jiang Yinran answered. When Yuanwan heard that, she sharply detected that Jiang Yinran's tone wasn't as enthusiastic as before for some reason. Did she finally shift her focus onto Chu Feng? That guy is probably crazy with joy, right? After settling the details with Jiang Yinran, Yuanwan hung up. If everything was successful, this film might make it in time for this year's Golden Orchid Awards. This accidental realization improved her previously gloomy mood a lot, and her spirits lifted as she started to write her graduation thesis. Dong dong dong. There was a knock on the door. Yuanwan quickly called out, Enter. Mommy, it's Tang Tang. Tung Tung's voice came from outside the door. Mommy's coming. Yuanwan hurried to open the door. Mommy, are you busy? Tang Tang glanced at the notebook, laptop, and pile of papers sitting on the desk. That's right, Mommy needs to do her homework. Yuanwan answered. Tang Tang docilely nodded. Then hurry and do your homework, Mommy. Tang Tang will go play by himself and won't disturb Mommy. Don't. Yuanwan instantly hugged the child. Doing homework is so boring. Baby Tang Tang, keep Mommy company. I really want to always be with Tang Tang. Chapter 1095. 1095. Tang Tang was hesitant. Wouldn't I disturb Mommy? Yuanwan hastily said. You won't. You definitely won't. With you by Mommy's side, Mommy will be incredibly motivated. But Mommy is worried you'll be bored. The little fella frantically shook his head. Tang Tang won't get bored. Tang Tang likes to be with Mommy. The mother and son duo entered the room. Yuanwan sat in front of the desk and sifted through the information required to write her thesis, while Tang Tang obediently sat close to her and watched her intently. Whenever she got tired, she would pinch Tang Tang's cheeks and have Tang Tang give her a loving kiss. This was the first time Yuanwan realized that slaving over a thesis could be this enjoyable. Si Yihan had shown up by the door at some point and was silently watching the mother and son. Later that night, after Yuanwan coaxed Tang Tang to sleep, she happily told Si Yihan, Tang Tang baby is too cute. With Tang Tang baby by my side giving me loving kisses, I feel like I can fight 100 more rounds. As Si Yihan tucked Tang Tang into bed, he glanced at Yuanwan. Is that so? Yuanwan immediately sensed something amiss in Si Yihan's tone and blinked. She added tactfully, Although I really want you to keep me company like this too and give me loving kisses. If you gave me loving kisses, how could I focus on doing my homework? Why can't you focus? Because my mind would be completely focused on you. Si Yihan's mouth twitched slightly. I once thought she was too timid and too scared of me. Now. Oh right. Audio. I found a film that's perfect for Jiang Yinran. Its director Peng Yuan, who's Jasmine. The topic, characters, and production crew are all top-notch. Peng Yuan, who also never does the whole casting couch or bribery thing, and only chooses artists he respects. So this is truly an excellent opportunity. I'm planning to let Jiang Yinran audition for the film. I'm meeting up with Yinran tomorrow to talk about this. Hee, if Yinran gets the role and wins Best Actress, I'll be over the moon. Si Yihan listened to Yuanwan's confident analysis. He had watched her transform and grow step by step until she could stand on her own. An indescribable feeling overcame him. He was glad. He was glad he had chosen to believe in her back then. He was glad he repressed the poisonous vines inside him that were growing and getting out of control day by day. True protection was a nourishing type of care, not a possessive enclosure. The next day, Yuanwan arrived at the chosen restaurant for her meetup with Jiang Yinran. Sister Wanwan. Over here. Yuanwan could see Chu Feng waving at her from far away, and hastened to their table. Yuanwan smiled and said, to celebrate Yinran being the top scorer, the meal's on me today. Order whatever you want. Then we won't be polite. Jiang Yinran happily said. All right. Congratulations to you too, Chu Feng. Yuanwan looked at Chu Feng meaningfully. She thought Jiang Yinran wasn't as enthusiastic about Han Xinyu the night before because she had shifted her focus onto her boyfriend. Huh? Why are you congratulating me? Chu Feng scratched his head in confusion. Yuanwan didn't say anything. Instead, she took out the signed photos of Han Xinyu from her bag and handed it to Jiang Yinran. Yinran for you. Thank you. Jiang Yinran accepted the signed photos, but had an embarrassed expression. Wanwan, what's the matter? Yuanwan asked. Jiang Yinran hesitated for half a day before continuing. Wanwan actually, Chapter 1096. 1096. Yuanwan became more curious when she saw Jiang Yinran's extremely conflicted expression. What is it? Jiang Yinran forcibly closed her eyes and exclaimed in one breath. I climbed a wall. Yuanwan choked and started coughing. Ahem. You climbed a wall? In the idol circle, climbing a wall meant liking and moving on to another celebrity. Yuanwan was truly surprised. Jiang Yinran liked Han Xinyu so much, yet she climbed a wall? Which celebrity could be this charming? Yes, Jiang Yinran had her head lowered, but she nodded fiercely. Chu Feng nodded next to Jiang Yinran. I also climbed the wall with Yinran. Our new wall is super handsome. Yuanwan was at a loss for words. She thought Jiang Yinran was finally focusing on her boyfriend, Chu Feng, but it turned out she merely shifted her target. Yuanwan asked with interest, which celebrity is so awesome that he could make you climb a wall, Yinran? Jiang Yinran held her face as she said, he's from Age of the Immortals. Oh, our company? Yuanwan's interest grew. Could it be Luo-chan? No. Jiang Yinran shook her head. Yuanwan coughed lightly. It can't be Gong Su, right? This was quite a large jump in taste. It isn't. He actually isn't a celebrity. Jiang Yinran said. He isn't a celebrity? Then who is he? Yuanwan was confused. Jiang Yinran hurriedly dug out her phone. Let me show you the photo I saved. Although he isn't a celebrity, he's super handsome. Also, he seems especially familiar ever since the first time I saw him. And he keeps giving me a very secure feeling. Also, he's super awesome. After hearing such high praise from Jiang Yinran, Yuanwan still couldn't figure out which person from the company fit her description, even after much thought. Look. It's him. Jiang Yinran opened a photo and handed her phone to Yuanwan. And then, Yuanwan saw a screenshot. The screenshot was Gong Su's livestream room. Didn't she say it wasn't Gong Su? Oh wait, that's not right. It's this one. Jiang Yinran flicked to another photo. And then, Yuanwan saw that the person in the screenshot was Yi Bai. When Yuanwan saw herself, she was dumbstruck. She didn't know whether to cry or laugh. Your new wall is him? Jiang Yinran enthusiastically said. That's right, that's right. You must recognize him, right? He's Han Xianyu's best brother, and he's Gongsu and Luo Chen's manager, Yi Bai. I used to pay a lot of attention to Han Xianyu, so the first time I saw him was at the press conference related to Han Xianyu's scandal. He was standing in the midst of reporters, but he was especially eye-catching still. Later, through the information Han Xianyu revealed during a few interviews, I surmised that it was Yi Bai who helped him resolve the scandal behind the scenes. He's so awesome. He managed to not only help Luo Chen make a comeback, but he also tamed the tyrant of the entertainment industry, Gongsu. Then he revived Dazzling Media. After leaving Dazzling Media, he was boycotted by Worldwide Entertainment, but he managed to use a magazine cover to carve out a path of survival. Finally, he defeated a wolf with bare hands and turned Emperor Sky Entertainment's anniversary celebration into the press conference for a life and death struggle. As Yi Wanwan listened to Jiang Yinran transforming into a complete superfan and babbling about Yi Bai's history since he became a manager, she had no idea what to say. She never would have imagined in her life that Jiang Yinran's new wall would be her. Chapter 1097. Chu Feng's expression was more excited than Jiang Yinran's. He enthusiastically advertised Yi Bai to Yi Wanwan with starry eyes. It's true, it's true. Sister Wanwan, believe me. Yi Bai is really super awesome. He's a god-level figure. Even I'm nearly in love with him. Yi Wanwan held her head speechlessly. Please don't. Thanks. Wanwan, can you help me get an autograph from Yi Bai? Pretty please? Jiang Yinran eagerly asked. Yi Wanwan. She only told Jiang Yinran that she had followed Yi Mufan and started working at Age of the Immortals, but didn't have the chance to tell her that she was cross-dressing. She was originally planning to tell Jiang Yinran about it today along with the audition for Elder Peng's movie, but who knew this would happen? Ahem, you really want Yi Bai's autograph? Yi Wanwan asked with a light cough. Jiang Yinran nodded frantically. Can I? Of course, forget about it if it's an inconvenience. Yi Bai isn't a celebrity after all. Yi Wanwan. Actually, it's quite convenient. Jiang Yinran's eyes lit up. Really? Yi Wanwan nodded. Where do you want the autograph? What's the best place to sign it? Jiang Yinran ransacked her mind anxiously for a long time before holding her face with adoration. In reality, I really want him to sign it on my shirt, but I know that's impossible. Let me look, I think I have a notebook in my bag. The shirt is fine. Yi Wanwan said unexpectedly. Jiang Yinran was startled. Joyful surprise flooded her face. Wanwan, are you for real? Yi Wanwan nodded with certainty. I'm for real. Actually, you can have the autograph wherever you want it. Jiang Yinran blurted out. Can I have it on my body too? You can. Jiang Yinran became more surprised. Could it be that Wanwan could take her to see Yi Bai face to face? Yi Wanwan held her forehead with exasperation and said, Speaking of which, have I not told you that? I didn't use my real identity to work in the entertainment industry, nor did I use the name. Yi Wanwan. Huh? What do you mean? Jiang Yinran was puzzled. Chu Feng interjected. I get it. It's like how some artists change their names after entering the entertainment industry. Are you using an alias or something, Sister Wanwan? Yi Wanwan didn't answer directly and asked instead. Do you have a pen? Sister Wanwan, I do. Chu Feng pulled out a black autograph pen. Yi Wanwan accepted the pen and told Jiang Yinran, Give me your hand. Huh? Jiang Yinran extended her hand with confusion. Hand? What about my hand? Yi Wanwan took off the pen cap and held Jiang Yinran's hand, palm side up. Then she signed 2 characters on her palm. Jiang Yinran felt a tickle on her palm and saw Yi Wanwan seemingly writing something on her palm. Wanwan, what did you write? Jiang Yinran asked as she retracted her hand. She rotated her palm so that she could see the characters right side up. Yi Wanwan's handwriting wasn't too illegible, so Jiang Yinran could clearly see that she wrote, Yi Bai, and also added a heart next to the autograph. After discerning what Yi Wanwan wrote, Jiang Yinran's eyes shot wide open. Ah, Wanwan, you wrote. Chu Feng also got closer. I think it's Yi Bai. The second after they spoke, they simultaneously looked up at Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan met the two children's confused gazes and lightly coughed before saying, My current position is a manager, and the name and identity that I use when I'm working is Yi Bai. Jiang Yanran Chu Feng. Chapter 1098. 1098 Chu Feng snatched Jiang Yanran's hand, and nearly pierced her hand from how hard he was trying to look at the name. Yi Bai. Sister Wanwan, what are you saying? Your alias is Yi Bai too? Yi Wanwan glanced at him. No. Our company only has one Yi Bai. He's Gong Su and Luo Chen's manager Yi Bai. Huh? Chu Feng became more dumbfounded. Jiang Yanran's reaction was the same as Chu Feng's. Wanwan, are you saying you are Yi Bai? Chu Feng coughed. Sister Wanwan, you're joking with us, right? Isn't Yi Bai a guy? Yi Wanwan nodded. That's right. I thought I should do a complete makeover when I changed identities, so I changed gender too. Chu Feng and Jiang Yanran looked at each other with bewilderment as they listened to Yi Wanwan's nonchalant words. Yi Wanwan was about to continue explaining when an unfamiliar number called her. Yi Wanwan glanced at her phone. It was a number from Sea City, so it was probably the troops. Gong Su and Luo Chen were conducting their special training, so their phones were confiscated. They could only use the public phone at the base, and were limited to a 5-minute phone call every day. Let me take a phone call, Yi Wanwan said and picked up the call. As soon as it connected, Gong Su's ghastly wail was heard from the other end. Brother Yi, save me. Good brother Yi, save me. I want to go home. They're abusing me. Gong Su's howl was thunderous to the ear, so Jiang Yanran and Chu Feng could both hear him clearly across from Yi Wanwan. Jiang Yanran was startled and muttered to herself. Why does this voice sound like Gong Su's? Yi Wanwan held the phone farther away. However, Gong Su kept babbling and bawling nonsensically on the other end, so she had no idea what he was trying to say. Yi Wanwan naturally switched to her male voice and said exasperatedly, Stop. Calm down. What's wrong now? Weren't you fine when I left? Didn't you promise me you would train well? The second that Yi Wanwan spoke, Jiang Yanran's head shot up, and Chu Feng looked like he had seen a ghost. Why you? Yi Bai. Isn't this Yi Bai's voice? As competent diehard fans, they could still recognize their idol's voice even though Yi Bai rarely made appearances. When Gong Su heard Chu Feng's voice he howled. Brother Yi, why is there another man's voice on your end? Are you taking on a newbie again while I'm gone? I knew it. I knew you just wanted to use this opportunity to abandon me. Upon sensing another ceaseless barrage from Gong Su, Yi Wanwan reached the end of her patience. Gong Su, enough already. Let Luo Chen take the phone. Gong Su, no. I only have 5 minutes to talk to you. Yet you want Luo Chen to take the phone. Your time's up. Luo Chen's voice came from the other end, then the phone switched speakers. Luo Chen, brother Yi. Yi Wanwan finally relaxed upon hearing Luo Chen. What's up with him? Is the training too hard? If he really can't accept the severity of the training, then I can call Instructor Lei and decrease the workload. Luo Chen was silent for a few seconds before saying, Brother Yi, that's not it. Then why? It's because the food is too awful. Yi Wanwan. Ha. Gong Su, brother Yi, do you know what they gave me to eat? It's all mantou and pickled vegetables. What is this if not torture? I worked my butt off the whole day and simply wanted something good to eat, but I ended up seeing that. Do you know how I felt? I was in utter despair. Chapter 1099. 1099 Yi Wanwan. She really had nothing to say. Gong Su. I want to go back. Go back. My meat, my pork chops, my potato chips, my spicy noodles, my chocolate, my cake. Yi Wanwan bluntly interrupted Gong Su's howling. I already bought the clothes. Gong Su, huh? What clothes? Yi Wanwan. A dress, it's pink. Gong Su. Mantous are too delicious. I think I can eat 100. I'll go now, brother Yi. I need to go eat mantous. After I finish eating, I still need to go train. Bye-bye, Yi Wanwan. After Yi Wanwan hung up, Chu Feng and Jiang Yanran were still frozen. Although they didn't know what Yi Wanwan and Gong Su were talking about, that phone call alone was too mystical. Yi Wanwan couldn't help but chuckle at Jiang Yanran's hollow look. Yanran, didn't you just say you thought Yi Bai seemed very familiar? Do you understand the reason now? Jiang Yanran was still dazed for a moment before she fiercely nodded. She stared unblinkingly at Yi Wanwan and realized that they were kind of similar. Why hadn't she ever noticed? Maybe it was because Yi Bai gave off a very different feeling than Yi Wanwan, so most people wouldn't make the connection that they were the same person. Even if people occasionally had fleeting thoughts that they were similar, they wouldn't put much thought into it. Chu Feng gulped and looked at Yi Wanwan before looking at Yi Bai's photo saved on his phone. Sister Wanwan, you're really Yi Bai? Yi Wanwan took her phone out and took a photo of Jiang Yanran's autographed palm before logging onto Yi Bai's Weibo and making a post. I ran into a little fangirl today. Photo attached. Jiang Yanran probably had a special follow alert in place, so as soon as Yi Wanwan posted it, an alert rang on her phone. She opened her phone and saw Yi Bai's newest post from a few seconds ago. Chu Feng leaned over and stared at Jiang Yanran's screen, his eyes wide open. He nearly went mad. Shit. Sister Wanwan, it really is you. I actually climbed my own backyard's wall. Yi Wanwan's lips twitched. I'm also very surprised that you climbed over to my wall. Chu Feng was full of excitement. So, you really are Yi Bai. Is there still justice in this world? Why are you so handsome even dressed as a guy, Sister Wanwan? Yi Wanwan raised her brows. Is it that hard to believe? Chu Feng stared at Yi Wanwan and was immensely resentful. Sister Wanwan, I should thank your mother. Yi Wanwan gave him side-eye. Why would you thank my mom? Chu Feng. I should thank Auntie for not birthing you as a son. Yi Wanwan nodded. That's true. You should thank my mom. Otherwise, Yanran would definitely be my girlfriend. You wouldn't even be in the picture. Life is already so hard, you shouldn't unmask everything, Sister Wanwan. Wait, no. God Yi Bai. Please give me your autograph. I want it too. I want it all, my clothes, my body, my notepad, everywhere. Yi Wanwan rolled her eyes at him. I'm already with you. Why do you still want an autograph? Enough, all jokes aside. I called Yanran here for official business. Yanran, let me tell you. Yanran? Jiang Yanran, who had been staring at Yi Wanwan in a daze, suddenly regained her wits and slammed her head onto the table with a bang. Let me calm down for a moment. My God. You're actually Yi Bai. I've actually been reserved by my idol a long time ago. I was earlier than Luo Chun. Happiness came too suddenly. Chapter 1100. Yi Wanwan gave them a rough explanation of the matter. So it's like that. But since you're so pretty, it's much safer for you to dress as a guy. Mr. C must have been worried about you before. Jiang Yanran nodded in understanding. Chu Feng blinked and quietly mumbled. Actually, it isn't necessarily safe for men these days either. Jiang Yanran. Chu Feng, what did you say? Nothing. I said that if we wanted to see our idol in the future, can't we just have Sister Wanwan dress as a guy when she comes to eat with us? Chu Feng exclaimed excitedly. Jiang Yanran. Oh, that's right. Yi Wanwan. That's technically true. After half a day of turmoil, Jiang Yanran and Chu Feng finally finished calming down. Yi Wanwan sighed. Are you calm now? Can we talk official business now? Jiang Yanran raised her hand. Wanwan, I still have something to say. What is it? I just wanted to say something. Yi Wanwan asked. What? Jiang Yanran cried. Why didn't Auntie give birth to you as a guy? Ah, so heartbreaking. Yi Wanwan's lips twitched. Enough already, you. Your Chu Feng's heart is gonna ache. Chu Feng sniffed and murmured. If it's Sister Wanwan, I'll allow it. What use was it for him to object? Such a terrifying love rival. Yi Wanwan. Alright, I'm calm. What did you want to say, Wanwan? Jiang Yanran seriously awaited what she had to say. Yi Wanwan sternly asked, Yanran, do you know director Peng Yuanhu's new movie? Jiang Yanran thought about it. Peng Yuanhu's new move? You mean Jasmine? That's right. Jiang Yanran nodded. Of course I know about it. I heard he couldn't find a suitable female lead after half a year, so he hasn't started shooting yet. Wanwan, why do you ask? Director Peng is going to hold an audition for the female lead at all the major theater schools. I suggest you audition. Yu Wanwan got straight to the point. Me. Surprise filled Jiang Yanran's face. That's director Peng Yuanhu's movie. How could I successfully audition? I definitely won't make it. Yu Wanwan solemnly said. Believe me. Your abilities and fundamentals alone are enough. Plus, I also studied the movie's script, and every aspect of it suits you. Jiang Yanran was still hesitant. But the A-listers and super A-listers who auditioned before all didn't pass, so how could a student who hasn't even started her career like me? The fact that you haven't been contaminated by the entertainment industry is one of your biggest advantages. If what director Peng wanted was those superstars who carry their own popularity, why didn't he choose them earlier? They didn't pass the audition, which means director Peng doesn't want that kind of female lead. Yu Wanwan said logically. Jiang Yanran still wavered. But can I really? Although Jiang Yanran was very outstanding, her personality was still a bit soft since she was overprotected and hadn't gone out into the real world yet. Yu Wanwan was silent for a moment. Then she thought of something and her eyes shifted. She switched to Yi Bai's voice and gently said, "How about you try it out regardless of whether you succeed or not? Consider it an experience. Will you go?" Jiang Yanran started before promptly blurting, "I'll go." Yu Wanwan. The draw of an idol was very powerful as expected. Chapter 1101. 1101. Then what do I need to prepare right now? Jiang Yanran asked nervously. I'll first send your information to the crew and help you register. You shouldn't have any problems signing up to audition with your grades at Imperial Films. Then I'll send the script and the related information to you, so study it well. Ask me anything you don't understand. The dancing shouldn't be hard for you, so you just need to practice a bit later. Yu Wanwan instructed. Jiang Yanran bobbed her head. Yes, got it. I understand. Do your best and don't be nervous. It's okay even if you don't pass. Just consider it a valuable learning experience. Okay. After the matter was dealt with, Yu Wanwan started making arrangements for Jiang Yanran's audition. As she expected, the registration was a success, and she quickly received confirmation from the crew about the location and time for the audition, and also sent them a simple script and some related information. Yu Wanwan skimmed over everything, and her expression became serious. The name of Jasmine's female protagonist was Lin Moly, and Lin Moly's character wasn't that simple. In the beginning, she was a naive girl, but after the war broke out, she lost her memory during the chaos and became another person. What was hard was the storyline after Lin Moly lost her memory, and the series of complicated emotional turmoil that was caused by the clashing of conflicting memories. It looked like Yu Wanwan had to take some more time to study it. Since she only had a rough synopsis of the script right now, she planned to find similar movies and use them as references before seeking out Jiang Yanran and helping her prepare. For the next few days, Yu Wanwan prepared for the Jasmine audition. Everything was also smooth sailing with Gong Su and Luo Chen, except for Gong Su's demonic mantras that assaulted her ears for 5 minutes every day. Late at night, Yu Wanwan glanced at the time on her phone, and her brows furrowed. Si Yihan hadn't returned yet. Si Yihan appeared to be very busy recently, because he was busy late into the night, and was afraid of disturbing her and Tang Tang. He had been living at Jin Garden the last few days. That guy. How can he bounce back into his old habits as soon as his body gets slightly better? Yu Wanwan kissed Tang Tang's forehead before lightly getting up and changing. She couldn't put her mind to rest no matter what, so she decided to drive to Jin Garden. Shortly, the car arrived at the entrance. Under the moonlight, Yu Wanwan saw that all the flowers, fruits, and vegetables she planted in the garden were growing well, and their fresh fragrance permeated the air. Although they didn't seem to match the elegant villa, they were thriving nicely and added some life to the place. Yu Wanwan pulled her jacket tightly before walking to the front door. When Yu Wanwan approached the front door of the main building, her face drastically changed, and she subconsciously halted. Aside from the clean smell from the plants in the garden, she could detect a faint coppery smell in the air the closer she got to the front door. The smell of blood. The face of Su Yi, who had been guarding the front door, was seen as soon as he saw Yu Wanwan. Miss Wanwan, why are you here? Yi Wanwan could detect something amiss with Su Yi's expression and suspiciously asked, "I'm not allowed to be here?" What was Si Yihan doing inside in the middle of the night with Su Yi guarding the doors? Su Yi quickly replied, "No, I meant it's already so late. So why did you come over at this time of the night? Was there something urgent?" "I was just worried about him. I was afraid he'd forget about his health again when he got busy," Yi Wanwan said as she walked inside the house. However, Su Yi reflexively stepped forward to block Yi Wanwan. "Miss Wanwan, please wait." Yi Wanwan lifted her brows when she saw this. "Steward Su, why are you acting so guilty? Is Si Yihan hiding a woman inside?" Molly means Jasmine. Chapter 1102. 1102 Hiding a woman? That's impossible. Su Yi's face turned black as tar. He quickly waved his hands and explained, "Don't you know Ninth Master well, Miss Wanwan? How could Ninth Master do something like that?" "Of course I know him. My Ajia wouldn't take a second look at another woman no matter how pretty she was. Of course, there also aren't any women prettier than me." "Su Yi, if that isn't it, why are you blocking me?" Su Yi wiped his sweat and realized he couldn't hide it from her, so he had no choice but to answer honestly. "Miss Wanwan, I'm blocking you for your own good. Ninth Master is inside handling some special business. Didn't you make me act as your spy before? And wanted me to inform you when you encountered this type of situation?" Yi Wanwan's eyes shifted as she remembered. She remembered that one time when she came home from school after she had just been rebirthed. She accidentally stumbled upon Si Yihan torturing someone and almost angered him. Later, she enticed Su Yi and told him to give her a heads up if she was going to encounter a similar situation in the future to avoid stumbling onto something she shouldn't see. No wonder she smelled the scent of blood. It wasn't her imagination. Yi Wanwan pouted. "Fine then, I'll go to the garden to look at my crops. Tell me when he's finished." Su Yi relaxed upon hearing that. Sure. Then Yi Wanwan turned to go to the garden. Yi Wanwan didn't think anything of the business Su Yi mentioned. After all, how could Si Yihan stabilize a giant clan like the Si family without using some special methods and cruelty? She would be too overbearing if she insisted on Si Yihan acting as an angel who never touched blood. In reality, she had always known that Si Yihan merely exercised more restraint, was more cautious in front of her and never allowed her to see those bloody scenes. She just wasn't sure about the reason behind the torture tonight. As Yi Wanwan strolled through the garden and waited for Si Yihan to finish up, she got hungry, so she randomly picked some fruit to eat. Look, wasn't it great to plant vegetables and fruit trees? She could have anything to eat as she walked. A few steps later, Yi Wanwan saw the chicken coop and turned on her flashlight to take a look. The original little yellow chicks had all grown into hens and roosters. Each chicken looked chubby and glossy. Their excellent care was evident. Yi Wanwan happily approached and reached out into a nest to search around. She dug out a white chicken egg. She was happily amusing herself inside the garden when she heard the sound of footsteps behind her. She reflexively looked back and saw Si Yihan walking toward her with a black jacket in his hand. Yi Wanwan immediately went over. "You're done?" "Yeah." Si Yihan draped the jacket over her shoulders. "Let's go inside. It's cold outside." Yi Wanwan mumbled. "Why did it take you so long to finish? Are you really hiding a woman inside the house behind my back?" Si Yihan glanced at her. "I wouldn't take a second look at another woman no matter how pretty she was. Moreover, there aren't any women prettier than you." Yi Wanwan instantly choked. Cough, cough, cough. You heard everything? Seriously, why is his hearing so good? Anyway, I was speaking the truth. Yi Wanwan pouted. Under the moonlight, he revealed an expression gentler than ever and reached out to pat her head with his slender and fair fingers. "Yes." Chapter 1103 Yi Wanwan looked up and was about to say something to Si Yihan when she noticed something odd. She intently stared at him and got closer to take a sniff. Under the moonlight, he was wearing a white dress shirt, and his cold and aloof face was as bewitching as usual, but his dark hair appeared to be a little wet. Moreover, there weren't any bloody scents coming from him. Instead, he had the clean and fresh fragrance from a shower. "What?" Si Yihan met her glittering eyes. You showered? Yu Wanwan asked. Si Yihan nodded. Yeah. Was he worried that the scent of blood would scare her? So he intentionally took a shower before coming to see her. With that thought, it wasn't only Yi Wanwan's jacket-covered body that was warm, but her heart also felt like it was encased in hot water. These past few days, have you been taking care of the seemingly matter? Yi Wanwan asked with concern. She didn't know whether the person acting behind seemingly was found yet. She herself had been trying to get old Zhang's group to use the lead of Tang Long and the Noise of Dragon's mercenary group to scout for information. Unfortunate, the lips of mercenaries were sealed too tightly, so they couldn't find the person behind seemingly. Si Yihan's gaze turned a tinge severe. Don't worry about that. I'll take care of it. Then he stared at her with eyes as dark as an abyss and said, Wanwan, promise me one thing. What? Yi Wanwan looked up. Don't let the events from last time happen a second time. As soon as there's danger, leave the Si family immediately and leave the country, understand? Si Yihan sternly ordered her. Yi Wanwan's brows furrowed. There won't be a second time. Isn't your body healed? Dr. Sun didn't find any problems in your last few checkups, and said you were recovering very nicely. Si Yihan didn't refute her. Yes. So you can't allow business to interfere with your sleep. Staying up late is very harmful to the body. It'll harm the liver and kidney, and cause a decline in memory skills and hair loss. Most importantly, you'll turn ugly. If you turn ugly, I'll climb a wall. Yi Wanwan warned him in a low voice. Si Yihan glanced at her plainly. What did you say? I said staying up late is harmful to the body. Not that sentence. Staying up late will cause you to turn ugly. Next sentence. Even if you turn ugly, I absolutely won't climb a wall. Wait, no. I won't take a second look at other men no matter how handsome they are. You're the most handsome even if you turn ugly. Si Yihan. Under Yi Wanwan's tight watch, Si Yihan finally got back to a normal sleep schedule. She also successfully finished her exams, and it was soon the day of the audition. Yi Wanwan accompanied Jiang Yanran to the audition location. Don't be nervous. Just act as you normally do. Yi Wanwan was speaking to Jiang Yanran when her phone rang. Yi Wanwan switched to a male voice exasperatedly. Hello. Brother Yi. Gong Su's demonic voice came through the phone as usual. Pause. Call me again later, I'm busy right now. Yi Wanwan interrupted him. You're busy? Why are you busy again? Luo Chun and I both aren't there, so what could you be busy with? Did you find another fresh piece of meat behind my back? Gong Su asked with alarm. Yi Wanwan's lips twitched. Gong Su's instincts were truly like that of a wild beast. What wild dreams are you having? What fresh meat? That's non-existent. I'm busy enough with you alone. I don't plan to accept any new artists. Yi Wanwan irritably snapped. Technically, I'm not lying. Jiang Yanran isn't fresh meat or a new artist. I recruited her a long time ago. Chapter 1104. 1104. After hearing her assurance, Gong Su finally hung up with relief. Meanwhile, Yi Wanwan continued to practice the script with Jiang Yanran. The audition this time composed of the most outstanding students from the major film and theater colleges in Imperial City, so the competition was very intense. Jiang Yanran might have superb grades at school, but she didn't have many advantages over those students who had already started their careers and accumulated some popularity. In the short time they'd been there, Yi Wanwan had already seen several new talents strongly promoted by Global Entertainment and Emperor Sky. She even saw Liang Shirhan. Liang Shirhan had signed on to Emperor Sky Entertainment through her connections with Liang Meixian and Yi Yi. In the crowd, Liang Shirhan spotted Yi Wanwan and her eyes widened in surprise. She haughtily walked toward them at once and derisively mocked. My, who do I see? Yi Wanwan. You didn't possibly come for an audition too, right? Because Yi Wanwan had to go to her school to retrieve her graduation certificate after accompanying Jiang Yanran on her audition. She was dressed as a girl for convenience. Aren't you overestimating yourself? Do you think you can succeed in this industry simply because you have good looks? This is director Ping Yuan whose film. Yet you have the guts to come and audition. Liang Shirhan prattled on by herself, but she angrily stomped her feet when Yi Wanwan didn't respond. Hey, what, aren't you saying anything? Yi Wanwan raised her eyebrows and looked at Liang Shirhan. I'm sorry, I only understand human essay. You. Liang Shirhan was incensed. It's all your fault, Auntie Mei Xian was chastised. However, Yi Wanwan, don't get too cocky. Your brother's lousy little company will soon go bankrupt. Yi Wanwan was disinclined to pay attention to this moron. Her uncle's family considered that mistress daughter, Liang Mei Xian, as their family, but stopped considering Yi Wanwan's parents, who had actually helped them, as their family and even struck them while they were down. Jiang Yanran furiously stood up. Who are you and why are you talking so nastily? Wanwan is here to accompany me for my audition. Liang Shirhan snorted. I'm the niece of the wife of the CEO of Yi Group and the cousin of Yi Yi, the director of the talent recruitment department at Emperor Sky Entertainment. This role will definitely go to me. Beauty Jiang, I recommend that you stop wasting time and head home early. After she said that, she turned around to leave in smug satisfaction. A few nearby students who were there for the audition all revolved around her like she was the sun and praised and flattered her in all sorts of ways. Jiang Yanran frowned. She's that younger cousin of yours? Ignore her and focus on your audition. I've figured out the scenes that have a larger probability of being evaluated. Pay attention to these, Yi Wanwan said and made marks on the paper she prepared. Although Jiang Yanran was angry, she still focused and listened to Yi Wanwan's explanation. She must work hard for Wanwan. Soon the audition started and the staff had everyone draw their order for the audition. Since unrelated personnel couldn't enter, Yi Wanwan could only wait outside. Students came out one after another, but nearly everyone had their heads downcast with sour expressions. It appeared they weren't too successful. About half an hour later, Liang Shirhan came out as well, looking confident. Before she left, she sent a provocative look toward Yi Wanwan. I heard your brother is depending on a life and death struggle to get a Golden Orchid Award? I'm sorry, but I'm afraid you don't have any chance for this year's Golden Orchid Awards, whether it's for Best Actor or Best Actress. As Yi Wanwan watched Liang Shirhan leaving smugly, her lips imperceptibly turned up. They didn't have any chance? Just wait and see. Chapter 1105. 1105. Yi Wanwan wasn't worried about outside factors affecting the results of this audition. In her previous life, there must have been a lot of companies who wanted to install their artists as the female lead, but Peng Yuanhu would rather delay shooting for 2 years than use an actress he was dissatisfied with. With Peng Yuanhu's status in the industry, he had absolute control over the casting. Not a single outside factor could affect his decision except for the artist's own abilities. Other actresses left in succession after they finished their auditions, but Jiang Yanran drew a number near the end, so Yi Wanwan had to wait. However, Yi Wanwan waited for nearly 2 hours, and Jiang Yanran still hadn't come out. Yi Wanwan was looking at her phone when a staff member wearing a cap and holding the script rushed out. He anxiously and excitedly surveyed the room before asking, "Who is Miss Wanwan?" When Yi Wanwan heard this, she stood up from her chair. "I am." The staff member suspiciously examined Yi Wanwan and asked with furrowed brows, "You're Yi Wanwan?" "I am," Yi Wanwan repeated. The staff member was startled briefly. "Didn't you come to audition?" When he first noticed the girl, he thought she was a student who also came to audition. "I came to keep a friend company," Yi Wanwan answered. "Is your friend Jiang Yanran?" the staff member asked. "That's right." "Then come with me," the staff member ordered without saying anything more. Yi Wanwan's eyes glinted. "Okay." The staff member hastily led Yi Wanwan inside. In the audition hall, the director, assistant director, producer, screenwriter, and investors were all present. Jiang Yanran was reservedly standing in front of a long table, while the producer kept asking her all types of questions. "Miss Jiang, what pay are you asking for?" "Miss Jiang, we're requesting that you start on with the cast and crew in 3 days. Do you have a problem with that?" "Miss Jiang, you should know about the situation with this film. It's been delayed for a long time, so we hope you can look over this contract as soon as possible." Jiang Yanran was evidently unprepared to deal with this sort of situation. Discomfort clear on her face. I'm sorry, I'm not too experienced about these matters. Can you please wait until my friend comes and directly speak with her? When Jiang Yinran heard footsteps coming from the doorway, she looked up in pleasant surprise like she had seen a savior. Wanwan. Yi Wanwan walked toward Jiang Yinran and hugged her in comfort. Wanwan, I got it. Jiang Yinran was flushed from excitement. Although Yi Wanwan had already guessed that when she heard the producer's questions, she was still emotional when she heard Jiang Yinran telling her outright. Congratulations, Yinran. Because of her family background and talent, Jiang Yinran had superb fundamentals from a young age, so she was well-grounded even though she didn't have practical experience. Wanwan, you guessed correctly. The scene I drew was the one where the female protagonist danced under the moonlight after she lost her memories. Jiang Yinran said excitedly. The producer looked at Yi Wanwan and asked with slightly furrowed brows. Miss Jiang, this is the friend you mentioned? That's right, Producer Wang. Jiang Yinran nodded. She had recovered her calm, since Yi Wanwan was next to her. Hello, Producer Wang. Yi Wanwan calmly greeted the producer. You can directly talk to me about any issues related to the contract and shooting. Chapter 11:06. The producer was briefly startled. He reckoned Jiang Yinran had probably dragged a friend over in a rush to help her discuss her contract, because she wasn't signed with a company and didn't have a manager. It was a bit of a taboo for artists to discuss their own resources and contracts in the entertainment industry, so Jiang Yinran couldn't negotiate her price or terms. However, wasn't it too rash of her to get such a young girl to discuss this? This was why he hadn't wanted to cast fresh new talent. The negotiating part would be too troublesome. He had no alternative though. Director Peng uneasily relented and chose a female lead who satisfied him. And they could finally start shooting after waiting for more than half a year. Everyone nearly cried from how joyful they were. He had to progress with the discussion regardless of how troublesome it was. The producer couldn't help but suggest, Miss Jiang, I suggest you decide for yourself so that things go faster. He would rather directly discuss it with Jiang Yinran, instead of discussing it with someone inexperienced. It would save him the trouble of having a three-person negotiation. Jiang Yinran shook her head and said determinedly, I don't understand these matters. You can just talk with my friend. I'll listen to her completely. Yi Wanwan couldn't help chuckling. Wasn't this child too honest? Wasn't this child afraid she would sell her out? Yi Wanwan could understand the producer's concern. She simply looked too young, so he didn't consider her reliable. The main point was that she didn't expect the director and crew to make a decision so quickly, and wanted to discuss the contract on the spot. So she had no choice but to represent Jiang Yinran with this identity. Yinran just finished her exams, and it happens to be summer vacation now, so Yinran can enter the film crew at any time, and will have enough time to shoot the film. Neither you nor the director have to worry about this. As for the compensation, it will be in accordance with standard practices. Yinran is still a newbie, after all, so we won't demand an exorbitant price. However, Yi Wanwan swiftly stated all the problems clearly and distinctly, then listed all the questions they wanted to be answered on their side. The producer became more and more surprised as he listened to her. This level of negotiation, experience, and comprehension of insider information. How did a student accomplish it? A moment later, the producer had a drastically different expression as he looked at Yi Wanwan. Miss Yi, may I boldly ask how old you are? I'm a first-year student at Imperial Media University, Yi Wanwan answered. Although she would get her diploma today, she still hadn't obtained it yet. Miss Yi is truly fearsome. How are you so knowledgeable about the industry? Producer Wang couldn't help but ask. I'm interning at Age of the Immortals, so I am somewhat acquainted with this information. Yi Wanwan offhandedly replied before turning to Jiang Yinran. Did you hear what we discussed just now? Bring up any problems you have right now so we can discuss them as soon as possible. Jiang Yinran's gaze at Yi Wanwan was brimming with admiration. I don't. Your decisions will do. She was in utter disbelief that her idol was discussing her contract for her. How could she have any problems? And so, with extreme efficiency, Yi Wanwan managed to settle the majority of the contract and the shooting time with the crew on the spot. As Peng Yuanhu looked at the contract that the producer handed him, his furrowed brows finally eased. I can finally shoot this film while I'm alive. That's right, Director Peng. Congratulations. Everyone else was also very excited. Peng Yuanhu walked over to Jiang Yinran. Miss Jiang, I'm very happy to see outstanding new talent like you, and I'm also very glad that you participated in the audition today. I hope we can work well together. Chapter 1107. 1107. Jiang Yanran subconsciously glanced at Yi Wanwan and said shamefully, "Actually, I was too afraid to come. It was my manager who strongly encouraged me to come." The producer revealed a doubtful expression when he heard that. This child had a manager? It was probably her friend or family or the like. There were many artists in the industry who liked to get their friends or relatives to be their managers, so it wasn't strange. Peng Yuanhu ruefully chuckled and said, "Then you must thank your manager for me." When they finished settling everything, Yi Wanwan and Jiang Yanran left the audition building. Jiang Yanran joyfully jumped. "Wanwan, I'm so happy. It feels like a dream." Yi Wanwan laughed. "I told you you'd make it for sure." Jiang Yanran frantically nodded. "Yes, Master Yi Bai is always right. I can definitely do it if you say I can. I'm glad I didn't disappoint you." Although Jiang Yanran typically had a soft personality, she entered a completely different mode while standing in front of a camera. She looked superb and didn't show any fear at all. Yi Wanwan was confident about that. However, Yi Wanwan was still relieved at how surprisingly smooth it went. "You'll need to enter the film crew in 3 days. Are you sure there won't be any problems? Do you want me to help you delay filming for a few days?" Yi Wanwan asked. "You don't. I can do it." Jiang Yanran's expression was a lot more confident than before. As they spoke, Chu Feng came rushing over. How was it? "I got it." "Really? Really? That's great. We have to celebrate." "Sister Wanwan, where do you want to go for food?" Yi Wanwan glanced at the time on her phone. "Go on, you two. I still have to go to my university to get my diploma." "Ah, you're not coming with us, Wanwan? We can wait until you're done." Jiang Yanran was a bit disappointed. "I don't want to be a third wheel. You two have fun. I'll go to your house to come see you tomorrow since I still have something to discuss with you. I also need to talk to your parents." Only after hearing that did Jiang Yanran brighten. "And okay. My parents were urging me to invite you to our house for dinner just the other day. I also told my parents that you were my manager. They were at ease as soon as they heard it was you." "Okay, go on then. I'm going now." After parting ways with Jiang Yanran and Chu Feng, Yi Wanwan drove to Imperial Media University. Imperial Media's only requirement for its students to skip a grade was for them to finish courses from their first year and send in the request a semester early. They didn't have any other limitations. You could choose to skip a year or 2 years, or even skip to the end if you were capable enough. Yi Wanwan was afraid of troubles, so she naturally skipped to the end. Accompanied by Tang Tang, she also finished her graduation thesis with great success. It was originally supposed to be a happy matter, but Yi Wanwan felt some sorrow as she looked at the bright red diploma in her hands after walking out of the teacher's administration building. Although she saved a lot of time by graduating early, she also sacrificed her wonderful student life. She didn't have graduation photos or a graduation ceremony. She had to graduate by herself. While Yi Wanwan was lost in thought, Professor Li Yan's voice came from behind her. "Wanwan." Yi Wanwan quickly turned around and greeted him. "Professor Li, did you come here to pick up your diploma today?" Li Yan asked. "That's right. How did you know?" Chapter 1108. 1108. Professor Li Yan had a big grin on his face. "Oh child, Imperial Media University has existed for nearly a century, but only 3 people have managed to skip to graduation in one go. This news has spread throughout the entire school already. How could I not know? Last night, I mentioned it while I was having dinner with your grandfather and a few other friends. Your grandfather didn't say anything outright, but his tail was nearly raised to the sky." Yi Wanwan didn't know whether to cry or laugh when she heard that. However, she really did have to thank Professor Lee for mentioning her in front of Grandpa repeatedly. It helped create a good impression for her grandpa. "Oh, Wan, you should be free now that you're done with your exams, right?" Professor Lee suddenly asked after some chatting with her. When Yi Wan heard this question, her heart skipped a beat, and an ominous feeling washed over her. Professor Lee looked expectant as he asked, "When are you free, Wan? I'll invite your grandfather and grandmother, and our two families can have a casual meal together. That punk of mine just happens to be back as well." Yi Wan. Why hadn't Professor Lee forgotten about this matter yet? What casual meal? This was nothing but a matchmaking gala. She couldn't anymore, and she had to explain it clearly. Yi Wan scratched her head and abashedly said, "I'm truly sorry, Professor Lee, but I've been busy with studying and writing my thesis, so I didn't have any free time. Now that I'm finally free, I made plans with my boyfriend to go on a trip, so I won't be free these next few days." Professor Lee was startled. Wan, you have a boyfriend?" Yi Wan nodded. "I do." Professor Lee instantly felt his heart aching like his chosen flower had been picked by someone else. But after thinking about it, he found something was amiss. "That's not right. Girl, you aren't lying to me, right? I talked to your grandfather earlier, but he didn't mention you had a boyfriend." Yi Wan rushed to explain. Professor Lee, you know about my family's situation. I don't see Grandpa and Grandma often, so they don't know I have a boyfriend yet." "You really aren't lying to me?" "Of course I'm not. Why would I lie to you?" "Oh, Wan, I know you young people are averse to matchmaking and arranged marriages, but let me tell you, I'm not boasting when I say my son is handsome and is a perfect match with you." Professor Lee merely thought, "I have a boyfriend" was Yi Wan's excuse, so he strongly plowed through. Yi Wan coughed. About that. Professor Lee, I don't think looks are important. Feelings should be taken into greater consideration." Professor Lee was immediately irked. "What, girl, you don't believe me? Let me show you a photo." In order to snuff out Professor Lee's hopes, Yi Wan had no choice but to wave her hand fiercely and say, No. I really don't care about looks. I actually prefer them uglier since they feel safer." Yi Wan was trying her hardest to persuade Li Yan when she heard rustling footsteps from someone treading on fallen leaves. Yi Wan automatically looked behind her, and was shocked at first before her eyes shot wide open. Si Yihan was wearing a bluish-gray suit, and was holding a large bouquet of fiery red roses as he walked toward her. On this rare occasion, Si Yihan was wearing something other than black, and he was holding a fiery bouquet, making his face more eye-catching than usual. Yi Wan was nearly blinded from how dazzling he was. She was dumbfounded as she looked at him. Audiobook. Why are you here?" Chapter 1109. Professor Lee stared at the man's face and reflexively put away his son's photo without a word. Then he suspiciously looked at Yi Wan. "Wan, this is?" Yi Wan helplessly covered her face and had no choice but to answer honestly. This. Professor Lee, this is my boyfriend." Professor Lee. This was the so-called prefer them uglier? Could it be because he was too old that his beauty standards were out of date now? Yi Wan was currently at a loss for words and didn't dare to meet Professor Lee's eyes. "Are you for real?" "I just said I preferred them uglier, and Si Yihan showed up. My face is beaten swollen, alright. Well then, Professor Lee, if there's nothing else, we'll be leaving now." As soon as Yi Wan said that, she hurriedly pulled Si Yihan and ran away. Yi Wan didn't relax until they were far away and couldn't see Professor Lee anymore. However, the moment she relaxed, a tingly feeling crept over her head. Si Yihan's low voice was heard next to her ears. "You prefer them uglier? They feel safer?" Yi Wan gulped and swiftly retorted, "Impossible. That's because Professor Lee kept trying to match me with his son, and said his son was very handsome or something. Plus, he wouldn't believe me when I said I had a boyfriend. I was at a complete loss, so I had to randomly make up an excuse that I preferred them uglier." Then Yi Wan deftly pulled up her phone's selfie function and pushed the camera toward Si Yihan. "You only have to look at your face, and you'll know that everything I said was to fool Professor Lee. But the second I said that, you showed up. You made my face beaten swollen." On the phone screen, Si Yihan's lips imperceptibly twitched. Upon seeing Si Yihan's expression easing up, Yu Wanwan quickly changed the topic. Oh right. Why are you here all of a sudden? Si Yihan glanced at her before handing the giant bouquet of roses to her. Congratulations on graduating. Ah, Yu Wanwan stared at the bouquet stunned. She felt extremely flattered. These flowers are for me. Si Yihan glanced at her sideways. Who else would it be for? Yu Wanwan blinked and hastily took the flowers into her arms. Mine, it's mine. She was truly too surprised. She didn't expect Si Yihan's EQ to have improved so greatly. You purposefully came here, because I'm graduating today? Yu Wanwan probed. Si Yihan's expression looked a bit awkward, and he evaded her eyes. Yes. As Yu Wanwan hugged the bouquet of roses, the loss she originally felt about graduation was instantly wiped away. I thought I had to graduate by myself. Thank you, Audiobook. Si Yihan couldn't help but be entranced by the girl whose smile was warm like the summer sun as she held her flowers. Yu Wanwan happily followed Si Yihan to the car. As soon as Si Yihan opened the car door, Yu Wanwan saw that Tang Tang was sitting in the back, and her face became even more surprised. Baby Tang Tang. Tang Tang was holding a gigantic cake in his arms. He was also overjoyed when he saw Yu Wanwan. Mommy. Congratulations on your graduation. The little fella wanted to pounce into Yu Wanwan's arms immediately, but Si Yihan reminded him. Be careful of the cake. Only then did Tang Tang remember he was still holding the cake, and had to sit back down obediently. I kinda regret choosing to hold the cake instead of the roses. Chapter 11:10. 11:10. The family of three chose a hot pot restaurant for their celebration. I got my diploma and Yanran also passed her audition, so this can be considered 3 simultaneous happy events in the family. Cheers. Yu Wanwan joyfully held up her orange juice. Si Yihan glanced at her. 3 happy events. Tang Tang also blinked and inquired. Mommy, isn't it 2 happy events? Yu Wanwan propped her chin up and peered at Si Yihan. Yes, 3 happy events. I graduated, Yanran passed her audition, and your dad's EQ improved. There's nothing wrong with my math. Si Yihan glanced at her. My EQ is really low? Yu Wanwan sighed. In reality, with your looks, if your EQ was high, I should have fallen in love with you at first sight. There wouldn't have been all that turmoil. In reality, she never understood what she was thinking back then. How desperate did she have to be to not want someone like Si Yihan, and be so hell-bent on a jackass like Guyueza? She clearly had a thing for faces, so she shouldn't have disliked Si Yihan so much even if he was a bit terrifying back then, right? After all, for someone with a face complex, the most important principle was, you're good-looking, so everything you say is right. If her attitude back then eased up just a little bit, Si Yihan wouldn't have been so violently triggered by her. And there wouldn't have been such a vicious cycle. Then their fate wouldn't have been so tragic. Si Yihan, whose heart was pierced by his wife. When Si Yihan heard Yu Wanwan's words, his expression fluctuated for half a day before he stared at her darkly and said, How do you know you didn't fall in love with me at first sight? Yu Wanwan was startled. I did. Why don't I remember? She clearly remembered that she was directly brought to Jean Garden by the people sent by Si Yihan. As strangers who met for the first time, Si Yihan told her she would live there from now on and couldn't go anywhere. There was no room for objection. Hence, their first meeting couldn't be considered pleasant. Si Yihan's eyes darkened, but he quickly concealed the change in his eyes. Let's cut the cake. A mousse cake melts faster. Oh, okay. Tang Tang, bring the cake over here. Yu Wanwan merely thought Si Yihan's love at first sight question was an offhanded question, so she didn't think too much of it and happily cut the cake. At the same time, at Emperor Sky Entertainment, Yi, Liang Shirhan, and Liang Shirhan's assistant were all in the conference room. The assistant carefully said, Sister Yi, I just received a reply from the film crew. Shirhan didn't get cast. Also, they said they found a suitable female lead. Yi wasn't surprised Liang Shirhan didn't pass the audition since Peng Yuan, whose strictness was well known in the industry. Many big-name actresses also didn't pass the audition. However, there were only new talents in the college auditions, so she couldn't help but feel surprised that they found a suitable female lead that fast. Without waiting for Yi Yi to speak, Liang Shirhan hurriedly asked, "They already found a suitable candidate? Who was it? Which company's artist got accepted? Could it be Global's?" She was the only one from Emperor Sky who went, so whose company's artist was it if it wasn't hers? The assistant answered, "I scouted around. I heard that it was a first-year student from Imperial Films who hasn't signed onto a company yet. She signed the contract herself. She was probably lucky." Liang Shirhan didn't look too good when she heard that. "Also a student from Imperial Films like me? Who? Do I know her?" Chapter 1111. 1111. Let me think. I think her name was Jiang. Her name was Jiang Yanran. The assistant replied. It was actually her. Once Liang Shirhan remembered Jiang Yanran's close relationship to Yi Wanwan. Her expression became even uglier. "Sister Yi, can't you think of something? I really want to act in Director Peng's film. Jiang Yanran succeeded, and she's only a student without a company backing her. Isn't it nonsense that I didn't succeed?" Liang Shirhan begged as she tugged on Yi Yi's sleeve. Yi Yi frowned. "Shirhan, it's not that I don't want to help you, and if it was a different director, our company could still rely on favors, but Peng Yuanhu is a director who casts based off his mood. No one can sway him. The casting for this film has already been decided, so don't think about it anymore. The company will make better arrangements for you." Once Liang Shirhan heard that Yi Yi wouldn't help her, she immediately became unhappy up until the last sentence. Only then did she brighten up a little. "Really? Thank you so much, Sister Yi. I knew you would treat me the best." Yi Yi laughed. "We're family. You don't need to thank me." Liang Shirhan appeared satisfied. "Sister Yi, you don't need to worry. You're the eldest miss of the Yi family, and the only eldest miss. Yi Wanwan and her family can't even show their faces in public, so they can't possibly make something out of nothing. What life and death struggle. Just from the name, you can tell it won't become popular. Let's wait for them to go bankrupt." At a hot pot restaurant, Yi Wanwan ate until she couldn't eat anymore before she finally rested, content. After the bill was paid, Si Yihan didn't directly get the car because Yi Wanwan was still too full, so they went on a stroll with Tang Tang. "Are you still not feeling well?" Si Yihan had a helpless expression as he watched the girl rubbing her stomach. I don't feel well." Yi Wanwan mourned. "Why didn't you two remind me to eat less?" Si Yihan, Tang Tang. Mommy, Tang Tang was wrong. The father-son pair shared the same thoughts. She was eating so happily. Who could bear to tell her to eat less? Si Yihan glanced at the pharmacy across the street, then said to Yi Wanwan, "Wait here a bit. I'll go buy you some digestive pills." "Oh, okay." Yi Wanwan obediently nodded, but after she agreed, she seemed worried. "But hurry back. It's late at night. It's not too safe. You're so handsome. What if you encounter some female perverts?" The corners of Si Yihan's lips curved upwards. His expression was hard to read. "No one's more perverted than you." Yi Wanwan instantly retorted back unhappily, "Hey, how am I perverted? Si Yihan's been slandering me constantly." "Really? Mommy, are you okay? Tang Tang can rub your stomach for you." The little fella helped Yi Wanwan rub her stomach with concern. "Thank you, baby." Yi Wanwan was in the middle of circling the fountain when suddenly, a girl headed towards her. The girl was looking down with a lot of stuff in her arms. She appeared absent-minded and wasn't looking where she was going, so she ran straight into Yi Wanwan. The stuff in her hands scattered on the ground. "Ah, I'm so sorry. Miss, are you all right?" Yi Wanwan watched as the girl bent down in front of her to pick up the stuff on the ground. It's nothing. Sorry. I'm so sorry that I ran into you." The girl kept apologizing. Yi Wanwan helped pick up her stuff and noticed the contents of the papers. She couldn't help but notice that the scattered papers were all the girl's resumes. The girl was working the same job as her. They were both managers. Chapter 1112. Yi Wanwan swept her gaze over the contents of the resume. Yao Jiawen, 24 years old. Her previous employer was Wisdom Media, and she had been in charge of 2 third-rate celebrities. The girl appeared young, but had already been in the industry for 6 years. She worked as a part-time intern when she was still in university, then worked her way up slowly from being an assistant until she finally became a manager. She seemed very reliable. Moreover, she was able to nurture 2 third-rate celebrities with resources that she had to compete for in Wisdom, which was considered a highly competitive company. This meant she was also capable. From her resume, it was clear her family circumstances weren't very good, but she was willing to work hard. To be able to get to where she was in 6 years meant she worked several times harder than the average person. Yi Wanwan's company had just taken its first steps, and she needed hard-working employees like this. Yi Wanwan handed over the resume to Yao Jiawen, then decided to test the waters when she said, "Miss Yao, I apologize, but I saw your resume just now. Dare I ask, are you still looking for a job?" Yao Jiawen nodded. "Yes. I saw that you previously worked at Wisdom Media. Wisdom isn't a bad company in this industry, so why did you quit?" Yi Wanwan asked. Yao Jiawen bitterly smiled. "It's just the usual company competitiveness. I was ousted. Our company only looks at results, and if we don't meet quotas, we have to leave. Miss, I can tell you seem to understand how this industry works and that it's very intense. If someone doesn't have any money or connections, it's almost impossible to make a living. I worked at Wisdom for 6 years, but in the end, I was still abandoned." Yao Jiawen's face was filled with fatigue and loneliness. Yi Wanwan understood Yao Jiawen's circumstances. This industry was simply that cruel. No matter how hard you worked, if you had no money or connections, you still wouldn't stand out even after 10 or 20 years. There were too many people who had to give up and change careers. "I was wondering if Miss Yao knows about Age of the Immortals?" Yi Wanwan asked. Yao Jiawen thought about it before answering. "I've heard of that name. It's a new startup company?" Yi Wanwan nodded in reply. "Yes, if Miss Yao is interested, you can give them a try. They've been hiring managers lately." When she talked to Yi Mufan about hiring staff before, Yi Mufan had already sent out the posting and had recently begun hiring. Yao Jiawen speechlessly peered at her. "You are?" Yi Wanwan replied. "My friend works at that company as the director of the talent recruitment department. I heard they're hiring now and I noticed your resume seems to match the requirements, so I mentioned it. This is his card. If you're interested, you can directly contact him." After Yi Wanwan finished speaking, she handed Yi Bai's business card over to Yao Jiawen. "So it's like this." Yao Jiawen accepted the card from Yi Wanwan and emotionally said, "Miss, I'm really grateful. Thank you. I'll definitely try for the job." Yi Wanwan. "You're welcome." Yao Jiawen thanked her several more times before leaving. Soon after, Si Yihan had finished buying digestive pills and returned. He glanced at the girl who was leaving. "Who were you just talking to?" "I coincidentally met a girl and saw her resume on the ground. When I helped her pick it up, I realized she was working in the same industry. She didn't seem bad, so I tried to hire her. Ah, look at me. I'm dressed like this and I still can't forget my job. Isn't this what you call being strong-willed in a disabled body?" Yi Wanwan sighed. Tang Tang was speechless. Did Mommy use the wrong idiom again? That's not right. Mommy is never wrong. Even when Mommy is wrong, she's still right. Si Yihan silently looked at the girl before him, then handed her a bottle of water and the pills. "Take your medicine." After he finished talking, he worriedly added, "Make sure to drink more water. This girl, no matter what she looks like, she still makes me worry." Chapter 11:13. 11:13 The next day, Yi Wanwan arrived at the Jiang family home to visit Jiang Yanran's parents. Mr. and Mrs. Jiang were too passionate because they kept encouraging her to eat more. It wasn't until she quickly recounted what happened the previous night that she was let off the hook. Otherwise, if she ate until she was stuffed today, the adult-child duo at home would nag her to death. "Ah, Wanwan, luckily you've been by Yanran's side all these years. Otherwise, who knows how Yanran would have ended up." Every time they remembered how they hadn't seen Song Zihang's true colors, and how they nearly married their daughter into the Song family, which was equivalent to throwing their daughter into a fire, The Jiang couple shivered from the fear in their hearts. Uncle, Auntie, you're being overly polite. Yinran's my friend, Yuanwan replied. It was also thanks to your help with the casting call this time. To be able to work with director Peng in her first film, our Yanran is so lucky to have you as a friend. It's truly a blessing. Mrs. Jiang couldn't help but sigh with emotion. If Yuanwan had been a man, she would definitely have married her daughter off to her. Jiang Yanran immediately added, Dad, Mom, Wanwan is really amazing. She was really accurate when she helped me figure out the plot details. At the time, many other capable girls also drew the same scene, and I heard the producer saying that their performances were all better than mine. They dance more beautifully, but in the end director Peng still chose me. Really? Why was that? Mrs. Jiang asked with curiosity. Jiang Yanran replied. It was Wanwan who specifically told me that if I were to draw this scene, I needed to hold back when I danced. She said that I should enjoy the dance without showing off. Because in that scene, the main female protagonist had a condition after losing her memory. Although she was a great dancer prior to losing her memory, dancing is a kind of thing that needs endless training in order to maintain the fluidity of movement. For a person who hasn't danced in so many years, if they suddenly had to dance, the body wouldn't be able to recreate the same quality of movement even if they loved dancing. That makes sense. So it was like that. Not many would notice this type of small detail. Mr. Jiang nodded. So I purposely performed with a few flaws so it seemed as though I was dancing as I normally would. Once I finished performing, Director Peng asked me why I performed like that, and I told him the truth. Afterwards, Director Peng chose me. Jiang Yanran got excited as she recounted the story. Yuanwan smiled. I was only explaining a little about the female protagonist. Yuanwan appeared listless as she seemed to have suddenly thought of something when she stopped speaking. She realized that ever since she had been reborn, she felt she suddenly had a lot of potential and talent in martial arts. It was only that her body wouldn't listen to her and would always run out of steam. Isn't feeling the same as what Jiang Yanran's character is feeling? It wasn't that she had talent but never learned martial arts. Instead, she was more like a machine that hadn't been used in years. So when she started exercising and recovering, her movements and fighting abilities kept getting better. Once she realized she had gone too deep into her thoughts, Yuanwan immediately came out of her reverie and said, I'm here today because of a specific matter. After Yuanwan said that, she took out a contract. Once Jiang Yanran saw it, she instantly accepted the contract happily. Is this our contract? Wanwan, you're finally willing to give me a title. Mom, quickly hand me a pen. Chapter 1114. 1114. Yuanwan laughed. No need to hurry, I still haven't finished talking. Jiang Yanran grumbled. You can continue after I've signed it. Yuanwan looked at Jiang Yanran then at Mr. and Mrs. Jiang before sternly continuing. Yanran, things aren't as simple as you think. Today, Worldwide Entertainment and Emperor Sky Entertainment are both secretly targeting us, especially Emperor Sky Entertainment. They'll definitely do anything to suppress us this time. You also know about my family situation. This is a hard war which I'm not even sure I can win. So for the sake of insurance, I'm giving you this contract. But you don't need to sign it right now. Wait until the Golden Orchid Awards are over, and after the results are out, you can sign it then. This is safer for you because if anything were to happen to Age of the Immortals, you won't get caught up in it. It was because of her company's circumstances that she didn't sign Jiang Yanran. Jiang Yanran went silent and suddenly felt unhappy. Why? In your opinion of me, do you think I can't share your hardships? How could that be? Yuanwan gently coaxed her. Part of the reason is for your own good, but it's also because of me. If I were to involve you in this, wouldn't my losses be too great? After all, you're my trump card. Once Jiang Yanran heard that, her expression warmed up by several degrees. Mr. and Mrs. Jiang also nodded when they heard that, looking at Yuanwan with approval. When the Jiang couple first heard from Yanran that she wanted Wanwan to be her manager, they were a bit worried since Wanwan was only older than Yanran by 1 or 2 years. But now, after experiencing so much, the old couple's opinion of Yi Wanwan had completely changed. Although this child wasn't that much older than Yanran, she was much more mature and thought more about the bigger picture. They could tell she was treating their Yanran wholeheartedly. Yanran, what Wanwan says makes sense. This is the best for the both of you, Mr. Jiang said. Jiang Yanran stared at the contract in her hands and gradually, her grip tightened before she finally replied. All right, I'll wait until after the Golden Orchid Awards before signing. All along, it was Wanwan who kept helping her, and even at this point in time, she was still thinking of her. This time, she definitely had to work her hardest in order to help Wanwan. She needed to do well in this film so that when the time came, she could stand on the award stage and proudly tell everyone that her manager was Yi Bai. Yi Wanwan didn't stay long because she needed to deal with the matter of hiring staff in the afternoon. After changing her clothes, Yi Wanwan arrived at the company. Yi Wanwan told Yi Mufan about the matter regarding Jiang Yanran. Yi Mufan was shocked after learning about it. Damn, you were actually hiding a trump card. That being said, this means our company will finally have female artists? Yi Wanwan. Don't even think about it. She already has a partner, and I was the matchmaker. Yi Mufan's expression darkened. How could you think that? Is your brother that uncontrollable in your eyes? But Wanwan, does this mean, since year 3 of high school, you've already been preparing? At that time, his impression of Yi Wanwan was that she was a rebellious teenage girl who dressed repulsively and would live or die for Guyueza. Never did he imagine that from that point onwards, his little sister had already begun planning with such patience. Yi Wanwan frowned when she saw Yi Mufan staring at her. What are you staring at me for? Yi Mufan rubbed his chin. Hey Wanwan, are you still my little sister? Yi Wanwan rolled her eyes at him. If I'm not your little sister, whose little sister am I? Yi Mufan abruptly appeared satisfied. Haha, mine. Besides me, who else could have such an awesome little sister? Chapter 11:15. Yi Wanwan swept her eyes over the documents scattered over Yi Mufan's desk. She casually picked up a sheet of paper and asked, Did you hire any suitable managers? Yi Mufan sighed. Nope. I interviewed several and none of them were any good. They were too impatient. Not one seemed competent. Yi Wanwan. It wasn't easy for him to be able to call others impatient. Any good ones wouldn't come to a small company like ours. We've only gotten inexperienced and unreliable ones, so it's hard to find anyone. Yi Mufan complained. Now that Yi Wanwan brought on Jiang Yanran on top of the other 3 artists they had, they really needed more manpower to help them out. Yi Wanwan thought about it before asking. Oh right, was there a girl surnamed Yao who came to interview today? Surnamed Yao? Nope. Why? Yi Mufan asked. Yi Wanwan replied, Last night, I went for hot pot with my son and my boyfriend, and I coincidentally met a girl and saw her resume. She was looking for a job as a manager. I saw her resume and she seemed pretty reliable, so I gave her my card and told her to come interview at our company. But she didn't come. Just as Yi Mufan said, anyone who had any slight ounce of ambition would choose bigger companies. There was no way they would come to their startup. There were too many startups in recent years that weren't reliable. They typically ran for about 1 or 2 years, then they would close down and run away from debt. There were even some which closed down after half a month or even after 10 days or so. This was why even though the competition to get into a big company had become even more intense than before, people were still more inclined to apply for positions with them instead. But at this moment, Yi Mufan was completely focused on the part where Yi Wanwan said, Last night, I went for hot pot with my son and my boyfriend. Boyfriend? You only think of your boyfriend. You've never even gone out for hot pot with me, your brother. Yi Mufan complained. Yi Wanwan frowned. What do you mean never? Didn't I have hot pot with you last week? Yi Mufan. That was at home with mom and dad. We've never gone out by ourselves. Yi Wanwan. I wasn't alone with my boyfriend. My son was there too. Yi Mufan. His heart felt so heavy that he didn't want to argue anymore. He was seriously suspecting whether this girl was lying to him or not. That kid couldn't really be her illegitimate child with that wild man, right? Yi Mufan was about to ask when the phone on his desk began to ring. It was the front desk receptionist. Director Yi, There's a miss surnamed Yao here looking for you. She says she's here for an interview. Yi Mufan looked stunned and he glanced at Yi Wanwan. There's a girl surnamed Yao here. Is she the one you were talking about? Yi Wanwan's eyes glittered. It should be, let her in. Okay. Yi Mufan turned back to the phone. Let her in. After a moment, a girl knocked on the door and came in. It was Yao Jiawen, the girl Yi Wanwan met the night before. The girl appeared plain, and looked like she would blend in with the crowd. Her hair was neatly combed and she was wearing a Chanel suit which was out of season, and appeared to be rather old. It was clear she knew how heavily people in this industry focused on their style of dress, but because of her financial circumstances, she couldn't afford to buy newer clothes and could only wear an appropriate brand name outfit. Not only did she look decent, but her expression was very natural and poised, giving off a comfortable aura. Nice to meet you, my name is Yao Jiawen. I previously worked at Wisdom Media and Yao Jiawen did a simple self-introduction. Yi Mufan looked through the girl's resume and appeared very satisfied. He glanced at Yi Wanwan, who was seated on the sofa. Amazing! You can even find treasures while eating hot pot. Chapter 1116. 1116. Their company couldn't support gods, but inexperienced staff wouldn't cut it. People like this were perfect. From the girl's resume, they could tell she was a hard-working individual. Yi Wanwan sent Yi Mufan a look, then coughed lightly before saying to Yao Jiawen, Nice to meet you. Miss Yao, was it? My friend mentioned you to me before. Yao Jiawen hurriedly replied, You must be Chairman Yi? Last night, I accidentally bumped into your friend, then she gave me your card. But I didn't dare give you a call out of the blue, so I directly came to your company to interview. Yi Wanwan nodded, indicating that she understood. You two can continue. Thus, Yi Mufan asked Yao Jiawen several questions, and she was able to smoothly answer all of them. After 10 minutes passed, Yi Mufan nodded his head in approval, then glanced at Yi Wanwan. Boss, what do you think? Not bad. Pretty good. If there are no other issues, you can come to work tomorrow, Yi Wanwan replied. Yao Jiawen was speechless with surprise, but then showed a conflicted expression. What is it? Is there a problem? Yi Mufan asked. Yao Jiawen appeared depressed with several degrees of embarrassment. She hesitantly asked Yi Mufan, Can I receive 3 months' pay in advance? She hadn't even started work, yet she wanted 3 months' advance pay. No matter which company it was, they would never agree. From the looks of Yao Jiawen, she had evidently worked in this industry for many years, so she should understand this unspoken rule. It was likely she had no other choice, which forced her to make such a request. Yi Mufan said tentatively, regarding advanced pay, If you worked here for a while, I might still consider your request. But you haven't even started working yet, and you want advanced pay. Do you have any reason for asking this? Yao Jiawen's expression became even more embarrassed. I'm really sorry. I know this request is unreasonable, but because the competition at Wisdom was too fierce. I put a lot of my own money into my work to help new trainees. I haven't been able to save up in recent years. I also just quit my job and my dad suddenly got sick. I really sympathize with you, but this isn't in line with company procedures. If this was before, Yi Mufan would have directly given her money after seeing how pitiful she looked. But now he first needed to think of the company, which showed his dramatic growth. Yi Mufan thought for a while before turning to look at Yi Wanwan. Boss, what do you think? Yao Jiawen watched as Yi Mufan asked Yi Bai. She appeared rather confused. Isn't the boss of this company Yi Mufan? Why does it look like Yi Mufan's asking Yi Bai for permission? Moreover, Yi Mufan appeared to be afraid of Yi Bai. Yi Wanwan replied, It's fine. Have her report to the finance department to get her pay tomorrow. 3 months' pay in exchange for a suitable employee. It wasn't a bad deal. Yao Jiawen let out a sigh of relief and gratefully said, Thank you, Director Yi. Thank you, Chairman Yi. Yi Wanwan. No need for thanks. Your capabilities are reason enough for us to fulfill your request. Yao Jiawen went silent. Her heart just got a shock. Yi Bai was saying he agreed not because of sympathy, but rather because of her abilities. With that one sentence, he not only acknowledged her skills, but also dissolved her embarrassment. Yao Jiawen. Thank you. Chapter 1117. 1117. What are my job duties? Yao Jiawen asked, now that she felt energized. Yi Wanwan replied, currently Han Xinyu has his own manager. I'm currently managing for Gong Su, Luo Chen, and another female artist the company is nurturing. For now, you'll work as my assistant and help me deal with my artist's activities. Once the company begins hiring more people, you can choose to manage new trainees independently. She had been worrying about how to manage Gong Su, Luo Chen, and Jiang Yanran, but now, she could relax. Yao Jiawen quickly nodded. Yes, I understand. I'll work hard. Before coming to the interview, she researched Age of the Immortals. Naturally, she knew about Luo Chen and Gong Su, who were A-listers being managed by Yi Bai. She worked at Wisdom for so many years, but had never gotten the chance to manage any artists above B-listers. She would now be the assistant to the chief director, and it showed how much importance Yi Bai placed on her. Yao Jiawen reported for work on time, and Yi Wanwan took her around for a tour of the company. Then she took her to City C to visit, and introduce her to Gong Su and Luo Chen. Yao Jiawen got the hang of things very quickly and didn't waste Yi Wanwan's time. She quickly began doing her work. Time flew by. Jiang Yanran smoothly began filming with the production crew, and in the blink of an eye, Gong Su and Luo Chen's time at the special training camp was coming to an end. For the sake of the Golden Orchid Awards and rushing to finish before Chinese Lunar New Year, the film crew was very busy. The awards this year would be especially competitive. Gong Su and Luo Chen had been busy with special training for a long time, making the film crew unhappy, but Yi Wanwan insisted that they needed to finish their training first. Special C forces were in the cafeteria. Yi Wanwan went over to stir things up for the last time while Yao Jiawen was considerate and brought over several types of medicine for any bruises and injuries. Gong Su gulped down a plain bun in 2 bites, and as he ate, he glanced at Yi Wanwan. Everyone's getting really impatient. Brother Yi, the pressure on you must be really heavy. My heart hurts for you. How about we finish our training sooner? Yi Wanwan rolled her eyes at them. I don't need your heart to hurt for me, thanks. There's still 1 more week. Push through until training is over. Gong Su suddenly tugged on Yi Wanwan's arm. Whoa. Then take pity on me. Look at me. Look at me. Before I came, I was like a fresh young flower, but now, I've worked to the point of being a spoilt vegetable. Yi Wanwan frowned in silence as she stared at the youth before her. Gong Su's change hadn't come entirely from his diet, which consisted of whatever he was given. The atmosphere he exuded had changed a lot. In the past, he was a boy, but now he was actually giving off some manly vibes. Honestly speaking, even Yi Wanwan was surprised by how long Gong Su persisted. Although this guy would act cute and complain about wanting to go back home, in the end, he still persisted. Yi Wanwan asked, "Who said that? You're even more handsome now. You were flimsy like a wildflower, but now, you're staunch and steadfast like a pine." Once Gong Su heard that, his eyes widened. Really? Really? I'm even more handsome? If Gong Su had a tail, it would likely be wagging like an electric fan around now. Yi Wanwan couldn't help but shoot him a look. Really, if you don't believe me, you can ask Jiawen. Yao Jiawen, who had been standing at the side, said, "It's true. You really are more handsome now. Although you were pretty good looking before, you give off a completely different vibe now. I think you're even better now." Chapter 1118. Gong Su suddenly let go of his complaints, and his eyes glittered as he stared at Yi Wanwan, begging for praise. Then quickly tell me more, Brother Yi. How am I handsome? In what way? Yi Wanwan pondered over how to word it before replying. If you were a dog before, then now, you're a wolf. Gong Su collapsed. Woo, Brother Yi, how could you scold me like this? Yi Wanwan was speechless. I'm praising you. Can't you focus on the main point? Gong Su instantly continued asking. Then what about Luo Chen? How about Luo Chen? Yi Wanwan thought about it before replying. Luo Chen. His change wasn't as drastic as yours. Ahaha. I knew it. Gongsu suddenly laughed aloud. Yi Wanwan was speechless again. Is a drastic change something to be happy about? Doesn't a drastic change mean he was a bad person before? The easily appeased Gongsu was once again satisfied by a few words from Yi Wanwan. Once Yi Wanwan finished chatting, she glanced at the time on her phone. I have something in the afternoon, so I'll be leaving first. In these last few days, make sure to work hard. I'll be fairly busy in the next few days, so if you need anything, contact Jiawen. Gongsu gnawed on his chopsticks as he rolled his eyes. Oh, not long after Yi Wanwan left, Gongsu instantly grabbed Luochen, who was beside him. Hey blockhead, did you notice it yet? What? Luochen impatiently glanced at Gongsu, who was acting strange. Something's not right with Brother Yi. Every time he's come to see us lately, he always leaves urgently like he's rushing to go do something. The majority of the time, it's that little mosquito who's in charge of us. Aside from us too, what else could Brother Yi be busy with? Luochen furrowed his brows. What are you saying? Gongsu's gaze darkened. I suspect. Brother Yi got a dog behind our backs. Luochen. When it came to matters like this, Gongsu's instincts were oddly accurate. While Gongsu and Luochen were training, Yi Wanwan was focusing most of her time on Jiang Yanran. Another week passed. Gongsu and Luochen's training had finally come to an end. A life and death struggles stationary team began taking shots of scenery for the film. After returning from training, Luochen came back with a lot more muscle, and everyone could see a change. As for Gongsu, his change wasn't as evident. Under the sunlight, Luochen appeared to have gotten darker while Gongsu remained just as pale as he was before. However, he did seem to be more energetic. If they didn't know, they would have thought he went on vacation. As Lu Qing explained the scene, Gongsu acted like a young master, sitting down while taking a selfie as he asked Dong Zai to order lunch and dinner. Afterwards, he secretly used Jiawen's kindness to get her to buy snacks for him. The entire production team, including Lu Qing, was all worried when they saw Gongsu's attitude. Chairman Yi, now that their training's finished, they should be at their peak, so I want to film all the most difficult scenes first. What do you think, Chairman Yi? Director Lu Qing asked. I think that's fine. On this point, Yi Wanwan was thinking the same thing as Lu Qing. Lu Qing flipped through the script then said aloud. Today, the first scene will be the most intense. It's the scene where Gongsu will fight the antagonist. Xue Xiaoyang has just entered the compound, and is still his playboy self. He doesn't want to learn anything until he reaches a breaking point, causing his attitude to change, and making him view his new profession earnestly. Chapter 11:19. This fight scene heavily emphasizes Xue Xiaoyang's drastic change in personality. He has to become extremely vicious, so you need to perform well. Lu Qing said. Yi Wanwan grumpily called Gongsu over when she saw him bullying Jiawen. Gongsu, get over here. Director Lu is explaining the scene to you. Do you understand how you have to act later? This guy had completely reverted back to his former self upon his return. Who knew if he could even get back into his role when it came time to act? Gongsu looked as though this was a trivial matter. I know. Isn't it just fighting? That's what I'm best at. Yi Wanwan. When you fight, you have to look more vicious. Understand? Is it like this? Or like this? Gongsu started wagging his imaginary tail, while puffing out his cheeks like a chipmunk, and making a vicious expression at Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan pressed her hand against her forehead. Don't act cute. This guy, can he really do it? Everything was going as planned except for this brat, Gongsu, who wasn't acting normal. She really couldn't get a handle on him. After the preparations were done, the first scene after the special training began. 3, 2, 1 and start. Lu Qing shouted. The man who was going to film as the antagonist opposite Gongsu was very tall and well-built. His body was very different from Gongsu's, and he appeared to be the domineering and overbearing type. If Gongsu wanted to appear capable of suppressing him, it wouldn't be easy. After Lu Qing shouted for them to begin, the pair ran at each other. Gongsu seemed to change as soon as the clapperboard rang out. He was like a mad dog. No, he was like a wolf as he rushed at the man. The fight scene was phenomenal. From the movements to the emotional control, everything was beyond their expectations. All their old worries didn't materialize. This was a performance that felt as though it was the result of going through a million training sessions. Everyone present was watching in awe. Fuck. Gongsu is so handsome. Never did I imagine that I would witness this side of Gongsu. He's so hot-blooded. Yi Mufan, who had already given up hope, now had glittering eyes. This brat isn't bad. I thought he was only stuffing himself with buns at the training camp, but from the looks of it, he's pretty capable. Yi Wanwan also let out a sigh of relief before saying, he's not bad, but if he wants to get an award, it's still not enough. He needs to be even more vicious than that. After finishing, Lu Qing called Gongsu over. Not bad, Gongsu. You acted really well just now, but you could be even more vicious. Just a bit more. Think about it. You just saw your teammate die for you and you feel responsible for him. You're in despair, and you're taking out your hatred on this scoundrel now. Let's try this again. I clearly performed to perfection already. I was even charmed by my own talent. Gongsu said, indicating his reluctance. Yi Wanwan. Not enough. Try again. Gongsu, yes, immediately. After a brief break, Gongsu obediently performed a second take. This time was even better than his first time. However, Lu Qing and Yi Wanwan still felt the scene was lacking a bit. Lu Qing tried to explain the scene to Gongsu again. This was better than before, but you could still be even more vicious. Gongsu, imagine this. There's a scoundrel who bullies the poor and hurts others for his own benefit. He's ruined this country and a lot of your brothers in arms have died because of him. You've wasted 2 years and you've finally caught him. How would you feel once you saw him? Embody those emotions and let's try again. Chapter 11:20. Thus, Gongsu tried again. Each time, Gongsu performed better, but it was never enough to meet Yi Wanwan's expectations. It still felt as though something was missing. She hoped Gongsu could express an even more atrocious mentality than the scoundrel that bordered on insanity. After a certain number of takes, Gongsu refused to do it anymore. I'm already vicious enough. How can I get any more vicious? I'm at my max for viciousness. Yi Wanwan went silent for a moment, then called Gongsu over. Come here. Gongsu headed towards her. Yi Wanwan thought about it briefly, then said to Gongsu, now close your eyes and listen to my words. Imagine that you're at the training camp, deep inside the forest. You're only carrying one cracker, and you have to survive for a month. You've gotten through to the 29th day after suffering for so long, and on the 30th day, you finally can't persist any longer, and you prepare to eat your snack. But at that moment, the cracker was stolen by a scoundrel. Now what do you want to do? Gongsu, kill him. Yi Wanwan. All right. This time, Gongsu did it perfectly in one take. The actor for the antagonist was a retired soldier. During the previous takes with Gongsu, he held back to a certain extent, but this time, Gongsu really pushed him to his limit. Cut. Perfect. Very good. The emotional control was perfect. Lu Qing was extremely pleased. Yi Mufan smiled lightly. Out of curiosity, he murmured to Yi Wanwan. What exactly did you say to that brat, Gongsu? He nearly went insane. Yi Wanwan. Not much. I made him imagine how he would feel if his last cracker got stolen. Yi Mufan widened his eyes. Is there something wrong with his way of thinking? Yi Wanwan. You just realized today? Yi Mufan. The second scene that day was a fight approaching the end. In the ending, Xue Xiaoyang, who was originally a playful, gutless coward who was sometimes cold and selfish, actually died to save a little girl. Shen Yu, who had gone through so much with Xue Xiaoyang, had come to think of him as his brother. In this scene, he would hold Xue Xiaoyang's body in despair. The focus of this scene was Luochen. Luochen only needed one take to finish. Cut. Pass. Great. Lu Qing cried out and applause erupted. Luochen bowed as he retracted the sadness in his expression. Luochen was so talented that he could already do this naturally. Yi Wanwan looked at Luochen, looking like a mother who had watched her son grow up. Luo Chen's rate of improvement was simply too godly. Gongsu murmured sourly, so fake. I could tell it was acting with just one glance. If I really died, he would likely play with fireworks. Because of the high efficiency rate, several important scenes of the film were completed without a hitch, and everyone on the production cast and crew could relax. It was like that idiom that said a beard lathered was half-shaved. The time they spent doing the special training wasn't wasted. Days passed as they followed an intensely packed filming schedule. Because the filming process went very smoothly, they finished filming in half the expected time they allotted for filming. The day they finished filming, Yuanwan had Jiawen reserve a private room for a banquet for all the cast and crew. Once Gongsu arrived that night, he began complaining. Brother Yi, if this was a regular day, I would let it go, but today is such a special day, so you have to drink 1 cup at least. After he said that, he dragged Luo Chen over and asked, Blockhead, don't you agree with me? Luo Chen. Don't agree. Gongsu, fuck. Traitor. Didn't we say we were brothers in arms? Yuanwan rolled her eyes at Gongsu. Hold on a bit. I need to go make a call. Hey wait. Are you going to drink or not? Brother Yi, you still haven't replied to me. Gongsu prompted. Yuanwan lifted her phone. I need to ask for permission regarding whether I can drink or not first. Gongsu. Chapter 11:21. Gongsu couldn't help but say, it's just a glass of wine. Do you have to be like that? Yuanwan. I have to be like this because I'm afraid of my wife. Gongsu was dumbfounded. You're a grown man. How could you be afraid of your own wife? Gongsu directly cried out from the depths of his heart. After saying that, Gongsu felt that what Yi Bai said wasn't entirely correct. Brother Ye's wife was also a man. Yuanwan ignored Gongsu's whining and moved to a quieter area to make the call. The phone call was quickly answered. Yuanwan. Hey Audiobook. At that moment, Si Yihan was sitting on the sofa, answering the call from Yuanwan inside the little house of Rose. Tang, who was sitting beside him, could hear that the call was from his mother. He quickly scurried over and stared intently at Si Yihan. Si Yihan glanced at the little fella, then put the phone on speaker before saying, aren't you at the gathering? When Yuanwan heard the sexy, low male voice coming from the receiver, she hurriedly replied, yeah, that's right. That's why. There's something I wanted to ask you about. Tonight, can I? Si Yihan. You can't drink. Yuanwan didn't even need to finish talking for Si Yihan to know what she was thinking. As though he was the bug inside her stomach. Just a bit. Isn't it fine if I drink just a little bit? I'm really happy today. Our first movie is done filming. It's such a celebratory day, so how could there be no wine? A banquet to celebrate the end of filming without drinking isn't lively. Even if Gongsu hadn't said anything tonight, Yuanwan had already prepared to drink. Si Yihan, who had strict morals, didn't waver under Yuanwan's excuses and only retorted back with one word. No. Yuanwan didn't give up. Rules are dead. People are alive. Can't you break the rules just this once? Please. Aju. Darling. Baby. Hubby. Si Yihan. You're sure it's only a little? Once Yuanwan heard that, she nodded. I'm sure, really sure. Don't you trust me? I'm so obedient. Si Yihan expressed his doubt. Yuanwan. So it's fine? I like you the most. I love you the most. I really won't drink too much. After a moment of silence, Si Yihan finally replied, know when to stop. So he's agreeing. Yuanwan instantly became overwhelmed with happiness. I knew you were the best. Tang, who had been listening to his parents' entire conversation, was now staring at Si Yihan with a look of disapproval, as if he was telling his daddy that he had no principles. Daddy, you don't keep your word. This isn't right. Drinking is bad for the body. The little fella said sternly. Si Yihan frowned and glanced at the little fella, before handing the phone over. You can try. Sure, I'll try. The little fella harumphed as he took the phone. Mommy. Once Yuanwan heard Tang's voice, she felt as if she couldn't be any happier. Tang, do you miss Mommy? Yes, Tang misses Mommy. the little fella honestly replied. As the little fella listened to his mommy's voice, his stern face gradually became soft and adorable. How are you so obedient? Baby, sleep first and don't sleep too late. Mommy will quickly finish up and come sleep with you. Don't worry, mommy. Tang Tang will take good care of himself. Baby's so obedient. Mommy likes you the most. Mommy's going to hang up first. Bye-bye, mommy. After finishing his call with his mommy, Tang Tang felt satisfied as he hung up the phone. The adult didn't stick to his principles while the child completely forgot to convince his mommy not to drink. Chapter 1122. 1122. Si Yi Han gave his son a look. The little fella, who had just complained to his daddy, seemed to finally realize he had forgotten his mission, and was pressing his lips together in frustration. But once he thought back to his phone call with his mommy when he could hear her voice, he brightened up. The little fella said seriously, Mommy said she'll only drink a little bit. Mommy knows her limits. The books say that drinking in moderation is fine. Si Yi Han had a headache and put down the documents in his hands. She'll naturally be fine. It's other people who aren't going to be fine. After a moment, Su Yi Fengxianyi 11 and a group of team leaders marched over to give Si Yi Han their weekly reports. Once the group of people reported what they had to say, they prepared to leave, but Si Yi Han ordered them to stop. Si Yi Han. Wait a minute. Su Yi 11 and everyone else stopped in their tracks. Su Yi asked, Ninth Master, do you still have orders for us? All of you are going to accompany me when I pick up Wanwan later, Si Yi Han said. Yes, Ninth Master. Su Yi replied, but he went silent because he noticed Si Yi Han just said, all of you. Su Yi. How many need to go? Si Yi Han. Everyone. Su Yi was shocked. All of us need to go? Si Yi Han. Yes. Su Yi. The bodyguards all looked at one another. Wasn't it a bit much if all of them went? Despite the doubt in their hearts, they didn't dare question the master's orders. They merely thought he was too doting on Miss Yi. At that moment, Tong Tong's footsteps could be heard as he came downstairs. Daddy, I want to go pick up Mommy too. Although Su Yi told them all beforehand about this child, everyone still sweated when they heard the word daddy. In the crowd, Fengxianyi was silently staring at the kid and cocked his brows when he heard the child call out for his dad. Si Yi Han glanced at the little fella. Did you forget what Mommy said? Tang Tang looked down. Mommy said Tang Tang needs to sleep. But tonight, Mommy is going to drink. Mommy's a girl and coming home after drinking isn't safe. Tang Tang wants to go pick up Mommy. Once the bodyguards heard the little boy's words, nearly all of them looked up with expressions of disbelief on their faces. What? Miss Wanwan is drinking? It was as though a storm was thundering throughout the living room. Everyone was shocked. Steward Su, what's going on? Why would Miss Wanwan drink? Didn't Master ban her from drinking? How could she be drinking? 11 urgently asked Su Yi in a low whisper. That's right, Steward Su. How could Miss Yi be drinking? How could Master let Miss Yi drink? Everyone scurried over to Su Yi like a herd of ants. Su Yi was also shocked. How do I know? I only knew Miss Wanwan was going to a banquet to celebrate the end of filming for her movie. How could I know that Ninth Master would allow her to drink? No wonder. No wonder Ninth Master's taking so many people to pick her up. He must be scared Miss Wanwan will drink too much and go crazy. Who could hold her back? Is bringing all these people just a precaution? Please. Even we can't hold her back, okay? If we go, we'll only be offering our heads. In the end, Tang Tang kept his promise to his mommy and went upstairs to sleep. As for Su Yi 11, Fengxianyi and everyone else, they could only follow their master like lost souls as they went to go pick her up. Chapter 1123. 1123. At this moment in time, inside a reserved room inside a certain bar in the Imperial City. Cheers. The first glass is for successfully finishing our movie. The second glass is for me, who will soon gloriously sit on the throne for Best Actor. Cheers. Tonight, Gongsu was very vivacious, and in a short amount of time, he finished a huge bottle of wine by himself. It wasn't enough for him to drink alone, and kept dragging Yi Wanwan to drink along with him. Han Xianyu was observing from the side with a frown. He headed over with a glass of wine. Gongsu, that's enough. I'll drink with you. Yi Bai can't drink that much. No, I want brother Yi to drink with me. As Gongsu said this, he rushed over to Yi Wanwan. Brother Yi, can I ask you some questions? What do you want to ask? Yi Wanwan swirled the wine in her glass as she glanced at Gongsu. Although Yi Wanwan hadn't drank too much and was drunk, however, under the dim lighting, her glittering eyes were alluring and made people want to cross the line. Gongsu didn't know why he reddened the more he observed her, and was dumbfounded. Yi Wanwan, say something. Gongsu didn't return back to reality until Yi Wanwan's prompted him, and he drunkenly asked, Brother Yi, do you have a lighter? Yi Wanwan didn't smoke so naturally, she didn't have a lighter. Thus she replied, Nope. Gongsu then muttered, Nonsense. Then how did you light a fire in my heart? Yi Wanwan had black lines all over her head. Han Xianyu, Luochen, Brother Yi, I have a super ability, a really amazing, super ability. Do you know what it is? Gongsu asked again. Yi Wanwan raised her brows. What is it? Gongsu, super. I super duper like you. Yi Wanwan and everyone else. Gongsu continued staring at Yi Wanwan. Brother Yi, last one. It's really the last question. Do you know what I like to eat? Yi Wanwan rolled her eyes. You like to eat everything. Gongsu. That's not true. I like to stare at you with infatuation. Yi Wanwan. This fella must be stupid drunk. He's actually flirting with me like I'm a woman. The crowd was all watching Gongsu in his drunken stupor amusedly, laughing aloud together. In the corner, Fei Yong couldn't stop chuckling and said to Han Xianyu, who was sitting beside him, This brat Gongsu. If I didn't know better, I would have thought he was gay. Han Xianyu acted as though he didn't hear what his manager said, and instead, he stood up and headed towards Gongsu and Yi Wanwan. Gongsu, that brat, was drinking while staggering about, his entire body pressing tightly against Yi Wanwan's body. Han Xianyu wordlessly used one hand and picked Gongsu up. Gongsu, why don't you have a drink with me? Brother Xianyu. Let's drink. Let's play. Gongsu then chugged his glass, and soon after, he went back to Yi Wanwan's side. Han Xianyu once again stopped him with his arm, evidently afraid he would bump into Yi Wanwan. Afterwards he sat in between them, separating the two. After drinking a few more glasses with Gongsu, Han Xianyu gently said to Yi Wanwan, Drink less. After all, you're a girl. At this moment, Fei Yong, who had just been making fun of Gongsu, was stunned. What's this situation? Why do I feel that Han Xianyu's so caring about Yi Bai? Even the tone he used to speak to Yi Bai was even warmer than the one he used with other people. Gongsu, who noticed that Han Xianyu had stolen his spot, was about to throw a tantrum, but right at that moment, Yi Mufan returned from the bathroom. Chapter 11:24. Yi Mufan had just returned from the restroom when he saw that Gongsu was asking for disaster again. He instantly picked Gongsu up and shoved him to the side. What are you doing? If you want to be crazy, go somewhere else. Don't stick to my Yi Bai. Han Xianyu breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that Yi Mufan had returned. Gongsu. Nonsense. Brother Yi is clearly mine. Yi Mufan. PFT yours? How delusional you are. Gongsu thought about it before settling for second best. Then I'm brother Yes. Yi Mufan. Could this guy be any more shameless? Seriously, as soon as Yi Mufan thought about how Wanwan was going to tell Gongsu the truth after the Golden Orchid Awards, he got riled up. Gongsu already acted like that when Wanwan was pretended to be a man. Who knew what he would do when he found out Wanwan was a woman? In the beginning, Yi Wanwan restrained herself from drinking too much. But when the atmosphere turned lively later on, she accidentally exceeded the limits of a tiny bit. However, it wasn't like qualifiers like a tiny bit, a bit, and suitable amount had a quantifiable definition, so she could interpret it however she wanted. Yi Mufan saw that Yi Wanwan was so happy on such a rare occasion, And she had all her friends there. Plus he was there, so nothing could happen. So he allowed Yi Wanwan to drink as much as she wished. Gongsu plastered himself to Yi Wanwan like superglue. Brother Yi, come drink. Keep drinking. Yi Wanwan was already tipsy by now. She raised her brows with a hint of inebriation on her face and languidly said, Baby Sue, I suggest you refrain from courting disaster. I heard. My behavior when I'm drunk isn't too good. When I drink too much, I like to hit people. Han Xinyu. Cough. This. I can attest to her terrible drunk behavior. Gongsu was completely nonchalant. That's great. I like having you hit me. Fei Yang the onlooker. Fei Yang seriously suspected Gongsu had turned gay. However, even if it was true, it was no wonder with Yi Bai's looks. Tssk. Hold on. Has Xinyu treated Yi Bai so gently and specially? Could he also be? A chilly feeling instantly surged through Fei Yang's body. He can't. He can't. I must give him a thorough reminder later. He can't err. At the same time, Si Yihan's troop of cars was already parked close to the bar. Si Yihan, Su Yi, and 11 were sitting in the car in the front while the hidden bodyguards all sat in the 2 cars at the back. A slender youth secretly left the car and ran to a supermarket. He came running back shortly after. Did you buy it? Did you buy it? Everyone asked with haste. I bought it. I bought it. I bought 3 cups. The owner said this sobering tea was especially effective. The slender youth hurriedly said, just the sobering tea alone won't do, all right? I heard that milk was also good. Did you buy some milk? That's right. There's also honey. I did a little searching just now. They say that tomatoes, grapes, and watermelons are also good. Why don't we buy a little of each too? Everyone talked at once and gave their suggestions. Sweat drenched their foreheads as though this was a matter of life or death. Suddenly, Feng Shuani interjected stutteringly. And not enough. These items just ease discomfort. They can only soothe hangover headaches and dizziness. They can't sober someone up. Everyone felt like heaven was crashing down on them. No. Is our only option waiting for death? Calm down, don't panic. We have 9th Master. 9th Master is here. 9th Master will handle it. We'll be fine. The slender youth tried to pacify everyone. Feng Shuani. And 9th Master, spoils Miss Wanwan too much. I think, the probability of him watching Miss Wanwan hitting us from the sidelines, is very high. Chapter 1125. 1125 Everyone. Ouch, that stings, Captain. Captain. Can you please stop talking? Hey, can you give us some hope to live? Why do we feel like we were called here to be punching bags? In the private room of the bar, everyone had fun and relaxed that night. The end of filming banquet eventually came to an end. People bid their farewells one after the other. Yi Wanwan, Gongsu, Luo Chun, Han Xinyu, and Yi Mufan all waited on the side of the road for their car to pick them up. Gongsu was completely drunk. The more he drank, the more annoying he became. It took both Luo Chun and Han Xinyu to carry Gongsu. Brother Yi, let's PK. Let's fight. Brothers who haven't fought aren't true brothers. Didn't you say you like to fight whenever you drink too much? A certain wolf dog had no idea he was walking to his grave. Yi Wanwan leaned against Yi Mufan's shoulders. Her inebriated eyes brightened a few degrees. You want to fight with me? Right. Come on, come on. I'm super awesome now. Gongsu was extraordinarily proud. Gongsu was full of brute force after consuming alcohol, so he quickly shrugged off Luo Chun and Han Xinyu and sprang toward Yi Wanwan. Although Yi Wanwan couldn't walk straight due to her intoxication, she was unbelievably agile when Gongsu attacked. With a tiny shift, she dodged his attack. A blur dashed across Gongsu's eyes, and Gongsu discovered Yi Wanwan had disappeared. He instantly became flustered. Damn. Doesn't count. I drank too much, so my eyes are blurry. Gongsu continued to deliver punches to Yi Wanwan. However, it was like Yi Wanwan could predict his next moves and dodge them every time. Several dozens of moves later, Gongsu hadn't managed to touch even a corner of Yi Wanwan's clothes. Instead, he ended up exhausted and gasping for air. Yi Mufan was planning on pulling Gong Su away, but when he saw that Gong Su was at a complete disadvantage, he decided to watch the show from the sidelines. Wanwan had practiced martial arts before and was quite good at it, so she shouldn't have any problems dodging Gong Su's attacks. On the other hand, surprise flickered through Luo Chen's face. Yi Bai looked too refined normally, like an aristocratic young master who led a pampered life. Luo Chen hadn't known Yi Bai was this skilled at martial arts. Although Gong Su was drunk, his fighting skills were enough to handle normal people after his training. However, he couldn't even land a single hit on Yi Bai. Gong Su was unwilling to accept this. He turned braver with each failure. I refuse to accept it. I'll beat you up. After fighting Gong Su for a while, Yi Wanwan looked bored and impatient. When she saw Gong Su attacking again, she pursed her lips. This time she didn't dodge and swung her fist instead. In the next second there was a resounding bang. Yi Wanwan's fist brushed past Gong Su and smashed onto the giant Land Rover off-road vehicle behind Gong Su like a clap of thunder. Her fair and dainty hand forcefully created a large crater on the hood of the off-road vehicle. Immediately after, a puff of dark smoke rose from the hood. Even the engine was damaged. Gong Su, Luo Chen, Han Xianyu, Yi Mufan. What the hell is this? When Gong Su heard the loud sound, he reflexively turned around and looked. Gong Su stared at the smoking hood with its large dent in a daze and instantly sobered up. After being dumbstruck for 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, Gong Su screeched like a startled cat. He dashed behind Luo Chen and wrapped himself around Luo Chen. Mom. Help. Chapter 1126. 1126 At the same time. In a car nearby, Si Yihan, Su Yi 11, Feng Shuani, and the hidden bodyguards of the Si family all watched as Yi Wanwan smashed a large dent on the car. All the hidden bodyguards. Please protect me, Buddha. A dead silence enveloped the area. As Luo Chen stared at the large crater on the car, he was also dumbstruck and forgot to push Gong Su away. He hadn't drunk that much alcohol tonight, so he clearly saw the large crater on the car. It absolutely wasn't an illusion. Was this a feat that could be accomplished by a human? Han Xianyu's expression was identical to Luo Chen's. Han Xianyu only knew that Yi Bai liked to flirt with people regardless of their gender when he was drunk. He didn't know Yi Bai could be so violent. Yi Mufan looked at the large dent, then at his unsteady sister before madly rubbing his eyes. Gong Su didn't dare to approach Yi Wanwan at all, and hid behind Luo Chen as best as he could. He begged, "Brother Yi, I was wrong. Brother Yi, I don't want to be beaten. I don't like to be on the other end of your fists at all. Don't misunderstand." Would he still be alive if Yi Bai's punch landed? Damn. What's going on? This. Yi Mufan finally reacted and shot toward Yi Wanwan like a bolt of lightning. Yi Bai, are you okay? Han Xianyu also hurried over and quietly asked Yi Mufan. Did she act like this after drinking before too? Yi Mufan was stupefied. If she drinks too much, she'll go on a rampage. But it's never been this crazy. This was utterly insane. Did he have a fake sister? When Yi Wanwan saw Yi Mufan leaning close to talk to her, she narrowed her eyes, which were full of yearning. What? You want to fight with me too? Pure survival instinct pervaded Yi Mufan, and he quickly waved his hand in negation. No. I don't want to. Yi Wanwan glanced at Yi Mufan, and felt that his face was quite pleasing to the eye. So she leaned toward Luo Chen. Then, how about you? Due to Yi Wanwan's sudden approach, Luo Chen's eyes clashed into her unbelievably beautiful eyes and felt all the air leaving his lungs. He didn't dare to breathe too hard, let alone speak. I. Yi Wanwan stared at the youth's handsome and helpless face and pulled back. She pursed her lips as she said, Forget it. You're good looking, I won't hit you. Luo Chen. When Gong Su heard that, he nearly fainted from crying too hard. Brother Yi, I'm also very good looking. Why were you so mean to me? My Land Rover, my little car. You hit the car, but it's my heart that hurts. Yi Wanwan ignored Gong Su and turned to the forgotten Fei Yang. She sized him up before deciding. You aren't good looking. Fei Yang was about to cry. You can't discriminate against me like this, alright? I'm just slightly worse looking. Wait, no, I'm also very handsome, alright? It's just not apparent because of their looks. Fei Yang finally realized. Yi Bai was especially fond of good looks when he was drunk. Everyone present, including Yi Mufan, was all very handsome. He was simply a bit more average, but that didn't mean she could discriminate against him because of that and hit him, right? Fei Yang wanted to say that his HP took a critical hit. Help, save me. Fei Yang's bladder was about to leak as he stared at the large hole on the car. Han Xinyu shot forward. Yi Bai. When Yi Wanwan saw Han Xinyu, her eyes instantly brightened. The man was as gentle as jade and had a soft temperament. He made the people around him feel like a spring breeze was brushing over them. Yi Wanwan. Little big brother, do you want me to tell you your romantic fortune? My fortune telling is super accurate. Han Xinyu. That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.